cannot imagine the pressure on these pit crews. The drivers have it easy. They're focused all night on their cars. But the pit crews, they have time to sit and think about it, and they don't want to be the guy that loses a chance at the chase for their team. So, how do you get these crews and everybody else pumped up to do their thing and not make any mistakes on pit road? Well, it's a command to start engines, and we do that now.
Race fans, it's time for the most famous words in motorsports. Chevy is proud to introduce a special member of the Army National Guard and Purple Heart recipient, Specialist Anthony Landowski.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
Appreciate it. Fired up. Push beams. Appreciate all that. And guys, you have a good day out there. Should be landing gear 4700, Jason. Temple. Marcus, just a couple of things. On the way in, I cannot see a couple of laps are going to
Engines have fired and cars are rolling off here momentarily. They're going to get all the window nets up and get everyone away as they are set to roll here after a brief rain shower about an hour ago. Take a look at our Coors Light cold hard facts. Here are the key numbers tonight. 8 spots up for grabs, 11 drivers going for those spots, and it is oh so very close. Look at the points, 122 points separate 5th from 14th position. Now tonight's in-race reporter, Casey Kane, has experienced both ends of the emotional spectrum here. He got booted out of the chase in this final race in 2004, and he drove his way back in here in 2006. So let's talk now to the driver of the Budweiser Chevy, who starts 5th tonight.
Hey, Casey, Dale Jarrett, ESPN. You have a copy?
Yeah, got you, Dale.
Hey, buddy. Big night, big opportunity for you and your race team. You've been in this position before. How have those experiences that you had before going to help you tonight? And can you give us your mindset going into this race?
Yeah, I mean, really, we've been on both sides. We've made it and we missed it right here at the end. So similar to where it's been in the past, and it's just all about the team and how everybody works together. And these guys have done a great job. We've worked really well together this season, and feel like we've been in it a few times. So hopefully we can get it done again tonight.
Hey, Casey, our next question is from Rudy in Lincolnton, North Carolina, and he would like to know, how is your team prepared for this night race at Richmond, considering you've only practiced during the day this weekend?
Well, yeah, I mean, the track changes some with the terrain. It changed again, but we just try to get a good balance during practice on Friday, and if you have a good balance, hopefully it'll pay off, and you can make small adjustments throughout the night, and it'll work on a track during the day or during the night.
All right, Casey, thanks for talking with us tonight. Good luck in your quest to make this chase. And now Andy's going to talk to your crew chief, Kenny Francis.
All right, thanks.
Hey, Kenny Francis, Andy Petrie in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you up there, Andy.
Hey, Kenny, how are you and your team going to track all the different scenarios that will lock your team into the chase tonight, and how will you communicate that to Casey during the race?
Well, first thing, hopefully we just have a good run, and we're up front all night, and we don't have to worry about that. But we got 2 methods. We've got a computerized deal that keeps it up automatically with the timing and scoring every lap. And we've also got just a sheet of paper that's like a little spreadsheet or a little graph, actually, that you can see where if you finish in a certain spot where everyone else has got to finish to beat you. So there's 2 ways to do it, and we'll just see how we're doing, and if we got to communicate anything, we'll do that. But hopefully we'll be running good enough we won't have to worry about it.
Okay, Kenny, good luck with that tonight, and thanks for talking to us.
All right, appreciate it, Andy. Thanks.
Look forward to riding along with Casey Kane tonight. We'll have onboard cameras inside 7 other cars. We'll take you inside the pushing and shoving at his Richmond, including our pole sitter, Mark Martin, who picked up his 6th pole of the year, David Reagan, who finished 3rd here in the fall of this race 2 years ago. Elliott Sadler, they announced this week he's a father-to-be. They're expecting their first child in March. Rookie leader Joey Logano. Jimmy Johnson, the 3-time champion, has won 3 times in the last 5 races we have come here. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is a 3-time winner here. Could he get his first win of the season tonight? And how about Carl Edwards, who starts back in 10th Folks, last night he started dead last in the NASCAR Nationwide Series race and won it, but he has never had a top 5 finish here at Richmond in a NASCAR Sprint Cup race. Our starting grid, we told you that it's a 50-year-old driver at the front of the field. Mark Martin trying to become the oldest driver to ever qualify in chase contention. Back in row 3, Casey Kane, we just talked with him. How's he going to fare tonight? And Brian Vickers beside him. Vickers just outside the chase. He's got to get all the way to the front and try to lead laps early. And there is Kyle Busch, who won this race back in May. He knows he may have to win it again if he's to make it to the postseason. Let's go down to pit road and check in with Vince Welch.
Doc, the 42 team and driver Juan Pablo Montoya are on the verge of accomplishing the #1 goal they set at the beginning of the season: make the chase. But making the chase isn't all this team has accomplished. It's been one of the best teams in NASCAR this summer, and it would be no threat or no stretch at all to consider this team a real threat to win the championship. But first things first, 18th or better, and they're in tonight. Look for the 42 to be conservative in its approach, gain a solid finish, and then celebrate making the chase. Shannon?
Ryan Newman in the 39 team, currently 9th in the standings, will tell you that at the beginning of the season, their main goal was to just finish in the top 15. But speaking with crew chief Tony Gibson today, he told me that goal changed right around May. Right now, this team is 100% focused about getting into the chase. Gibson also told me after everything he's accomplished in his career, which includes 3 championships, making the chase with this team means more than anything else. He also told me if they don't make the chase, he will feel like he let everybody down. Jamie?
Shannon, tonight all eyes are going to be on the 18 of Kyle Busch. Will he make the jump from 14 in points to the top 12? Will he win the race? Well, keep this in mind while you're watching Kyle Busch tonight. He could win the race and still miss the chase. However, if he wins the race, makes the chase, he'll be the #1 seed. Basically, if everything goes as planned tonight, he'll go from a non-factor to the #1 threat. Doc?
Jamie, Kyle Busch has been Superman on the short tracks this year, having won 3 of the 4 events, including this race here in May. But he has one more hurdle to get over tonight if he's to make it into the postseason. Track is almost dry, and we are just about set for the green flag. Back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Almost set for the green flag here at Richmond International Raceway. This broadcast is available in Spanish by activating your SAP button, presented by ESPN Deportes. We had a brief rain shower. Now, they've had the track dryers, the jet dryers on the racetrack. Let's ask our experienced veterans here. Rusty Wallace, 6-time winner here. What happens when you bring those jet dryers onto the racetrack?
Well, Jerry, what's going on right now? We had some rain right here, but we did not have enough rain to really change a lot of the track conditions the way we generally see it. But at this particular racetrack, those jet dryers you're looking at right there actually blow the rubber out of the racetrack. So as a driver and a crew chief, the first thing I want to do is not overreact in this first run, because this track is going to rubber back up and get back to normal. That's one thing you don't want to freak out about, because the car is going to do something. It's either going to get loose or it's going to get tight, and you got to talk about it.
And I'll tell you, that's what's made Rusty so good here. He realizes that, and he doesn't over-adjust his car when he shouldn't. And I think that's a good point, Rusty. And sometimes as a crew chief, you got to remind your drivers that too if the car's doing something kind of goofy.
Yeah, and this is a hard time not to overreact, because there's so much excitement built around this. And I haven't been on the inside of the chase. I've been just outside it trying to get in, and it is just, it consumes everything you think about. So sometimes you forget about the little things, just like Rusty was pointing out right there.
So one more thing to worry about for these teams. And we'll be able to take you inside the pit stops with the Paul Menard's rear tire carrier, Rick McRae. His nickname is West Coast because he's from Highland, California there. And Rick will give us an up-close and personal look at the frenetic activity on pit road. Folks, Saturday night short track racing at Richmond, Virginia. It's rough, it's rowdy, it's risky, but if you get it done tonight, it can be rewarding. That is Ryan McRae, the reporter, by the way, from Highland, California. Great crowd on hand. Glad to have you with us. Final regular season race of the year. The playoffs begin next week. 43 drivers want to win this race. 11 of those drivers are also thinking about getting in the chase. Who will it be? We'll all find out together 400 laps from now. Front row, Mark Martin and Martin Truex, a 50-year-old pole sitter trying to make NASCAR history. Glad to have you with us, folks, as they come down for the green flag at Richmond.
Mark Martin really got a nice jump, wanting to get those 5 bonus points that would help his scenario too. The thing that always made me nervous as a driver, as Rusty brought out the point of those jet drivers, was the little bit of residue they put on the racetrack, making it a little bit slicker at the start.
Jimmy Johnson now trying to make a move for 3rd position under Truex.
See, it's getting single file at the very front, but it's still double file coming off turn 2 midway through the pack. That's where Matt Kenseth finds himself, right in the middle of all that.
Yeah, he's been 2 and 3 wide through turn 3 and off of 4.
See Brian Vickers, the 83 car, and in the 18 behind him. That is Kyle Busch. Those are the Bubble Boys back in 13th and 14th in the points.
Yeah, if you see all this right here, you see it's double file all the way back through here, and you see Matt Kenseth is looking at all of this in front of him.
And he saw that somebody lock up the left front tire a little bit with a little too much brake there. That just makes you really anxious as a driver at that particular point. What's happening in front of me that I can't see?
Here goes Hamlin for the lead.
Mark it down, lap 4. Hamlin takes the lead. I was going to wonder how aggressive Mark Martin would be early on after he's led a lap.
Well, he's in a really good spot, though. He's running up front with these guys to try to, lead the first lap. He did that. Now he can sit here, settle in, and run his own race. He doesn't have to worry too much. But Matt Kenseth, on the other hand, is back there in a hornet's nest.
Side-by-side action. There's the 39 car, Brian Newman, inside A.J. Allmendinger. Newman, one of the drivers.
Oh, trouble in turn 2.
Oh, got one in the wall.
Got Scott Speed that got turned around. They were 3 wide right there.
Got wrecked.
Heavy damage on the back of his Toyota. That will bring out caution for the first time tonight.
I think we'll see. He was just kind of an innocent bystander there, but they got 3 wide, and he got clipped in the left rear.
There's a lot of heavy-duty racing going on from mid-pack on back. It really never sorted out. It was 2 wide all the way back, and then, like I say, got 3 wide.
Scott, one of the rookie competitors this year in NASCAR Sprint Cup, coming over from Formula One. Let's show you what happened to him down in 1 and 2.
It's a little bit of a nudge from Jeff Burton, but I'm not sure that he didn't get one from Greg Biffle.
Tony Stewart jumped in there. I think that might have forced Jeff Burton up there, too. Let's look here. There goes Tony. Yeah, he made Jeff Burton go up the racetrack. Jeff was trying to slow down. Biffle right there in the middle of that.
You see Biffle and Matt Kenseth just squeaking by there.
Well, that could
These are the moments that you just don't want to.
Oh, gosh.
That's why Mark Martin is such a good spot running up in front and second. These guys have to put up with this all night back in the back of the pack.
That could have been a disaster for Greg Biffle and Matt Kenseth, who sit 11th and 12th in the standings. Under caution for the first time tonight at the Chevy Rock and Roll 400 here at Richmond. Now 7 cars came on the pit road, including the car number 17. Let's listen in.
I didn't know if you wanted me to come there or not. There's just make sure you're clear so I know what we're going to do. I thought you said if we come. I don't know. I thought you just said be ready, then if we come, we're doing 4 tires and track bar. I didn't know if you wanted me there or not.
10-4. I did. I'll make sure you know.
A little pressure working on that team.
Yeah, they can put it off as much as they want, but there is a lot of pressure.
Double file restarts. Mark Martin has the outside. Hamlin was the leader and chose the inside lane.
As you can see, all Mark wanted to do was get to the inside.
Like Reed Sorensen.
And somehow he keeps that 43 car out of the wall.
If this puts them 3 wide on it, they straighten out to just 2 wide down into 3. Yeah, there's still a lot of other drivers in this. We talk about all the chase drivers. There's other people with other agendas wanting to do well, wanting to run well. So they have to still go on and run their race. And they cover all of that, obviously.
Yeah, they could care less about what these other drivers are having to do tonight. They want to do what they need to do for their own teams. They don't want to cost anybody anything, but they're going to race hard.
Oh, here's a whole group back here. You see Ryan Newman on the outside. There's the 99 car behind him, Carl Edwards, who had the big disappointment at Atlanta a week ago.
Matt Kenseth finds himself in a 3 wide situation going into turn 1.
He's got cars 3 wide in front of him as well.
Look at that gaggle of cars. Kenseth, you got to try to tiptoe. How do you tiptoe through that mess?
Man,
And you need to go because, this is only 3/4 of a mile in length.
And that leader will be looking at your back bumper if you don't get going. Matt knows that.
Just looks like he's really struggling with his race car right now. He's not able to pass these guys. He's getting past more than he's passing.
There was a little miscue there. I don't think that Blickensdorfer wanted Matt on pit road, and that's kind of what's put him in this spot right here, is making that pit stop.
Meyer back in 37th position there. The 71 car to his outside is David Gilliland. There's the 42, Juan Pablo Montoya, trying to hang on the outside, battling with A.J. Allmendinger for 13th position.
Yeah, he just made a 3-wide pass on the outside of Brad Kozlowski coming out of turn 4. So he's been pretty aggressive here early. He just like to get himself in a safe spot there, so to speak.
Montoya has never made the chase. He finished 3rd last week in Atlanta. Only has one top 10 finish at this racetrack, and that came this past May. Back up front, Denny Hamlin, the local boy from nearby Chesapeake, Virginia, holding off Mark Martin, and have good battles all over the racetrack. Here's a couple of teammates as Jeff Gordon now has gone by Casey Kane for 5th, and now goes after the 48 car of Jimmy Johnson for 4th spot.
Jeff Gordon speaking a little bit yesterday. He was pretty excited about his car. He really hasn't run as well here the last few races as what he's accustomed to running. I think he thought this might be a better opportunity.
Well, one thing I've seen, this team is on an upswing right now. It seems like they, last week they ran good. They're running good tonight. I think they're in a really good position right now. And looks like it's going pretty good for them tonight so far, Shannon.
Andy, they unloaded very similar to the way that they raced in May, which was an 8th place finishing car, but this team has had absolutely no pressure this weekend. Already locked into the chase. Steve Letarte described it as relaxed and fun. He said no matter what happens tonight, we are going to have a good night.
That's really what the scenario you'd like to set up going into the chase next week. Another short track at New Hampshire. So that's what these guys are getting ready for. And as we see Casey Kane trying to take this spot away from Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, Jimmy's struggling just a little bit.
Casey got his very first NASCAR Sprint Cup Series win at this racetrack back in the spring of 2005, and every position is critical. You see Casey Kane there, and in case he looks in his rearview mirror, he'll see the 18 car beginning to move in. There is Kyle Busch, who was 37 points out of 12th coming into the night. Let's update the 48 car of Jimmy Johnson. Dave.
And as he gets pressure now from Casey Kane, just trying to get a rhythm was his report to the team. And I want you to keep in mind, as this team goes for an unprecedented Ford championship, one of the ways that you get your cars better is when you have mistakes. And early in the spring when they raced here, they had a brake line issue. They changed the way they assembled their brake systems, and Chad Knaus told me this morning that's one thing they've improved on in this car, which makes us better than we were half a year ago.
Constantly trying to evolve and improve here. And as crew chiefs, if you stand still, as a crew chief, you get behind.
Yeah, and that's one thing that 48 team really understands. They do the best job of anybody out there of staying ahead and staying up on the competition.
Casey Kane unwilling to relinquish that position. In fact, trying to take it away.
Yeah, we see 2 or 3 of these battles too wide with guys right behind them wanting to make something happen, but they just can't. That's what's great about this racetrack is you are able to race like this. Now Casey Kane does finally make that pass on Jimmy Johnson.
Kurt Busch in the 2 car just getting by the 83 car of Brian Vickers. And that is 9th and 10th position. And who would have thought this year, given all the experience on the 88 team, that Dale Earnhardt Jr. would not make the chase, but he did not get in. And now it's up to him. Their focus right now is on winning a race.
These two got the 29 of Kevin Harvick and David Streaming, the 12, have been running side by side for about 5 laps. And Montoya, he's been to the inside, the outside. I think he has a faster car, but he just didn't have anywhere to go. Now Harvick's able to clear David Streaming, and that opens up a lane for Juan Montoya.
Now it's Montoya's turn to race Streaming for a few laps. It seemed like it took Harvick forever to get by the 12.
It's just really hard to get your car off of these corners and make that run because you need all of the racetrack to do that. And with a car on the outside of you, it makes it very difficult to stay in the throttle.
We just joined our coverage. Mark Martin led the first 3 laps, and Denny Hamlin has led the 21 since. 24 of 400 laps complete here at Richmond. Big win for Rich Rodriguez and the Wolverines today, and now Denny Hamlin is trying to get a big win here in the home track tonight. Slow car on the racetrack is the 78th, the reigning Rookie of the Year, Regan Smith, and he will head to pit road.
Yeah, he might have enough power to get back. I don't think he has any power, but he may be able to get back here. Yeah, it looks like he's picking it up now. He should be able to get off without creating any problems.
Denny Hamlin, our leader after 33 laps. He has led the last 30. Our pole sitter Mark Martin led the first 3 laps. Across the top of your screen, you'll see the names in green. Those are the drivers that are currently in the top 12, which means they are in the chase. And the ones in yellow are the ones that potentially could get in the chase tonight. They're just on the bubble and have the ability points-wise to get in. And, of course, the ones that are in black are the ones that have been already eliminated here in 2009. Let's check in on Kyle Busch. Dave.
Well, Kyle has a very good record at this racetrack. His feedback is exceptional because he runs so well here. Right now he can't run the track the way he wants to. It's loose getting into the corner, and in Kyle's words, I can't hustle the entry.
The 14 car of Tony Stewart. There was a lot of question marks this week about what's going on with this team. They've had 3 consecutive finishes out of the top 10, and Tony is already in the chase, but guys, he wants to win this race.
Oh yeah, he's just racing for bonus points tonight. He has nothing else to gain here other than win the race and get 10 more points that he'll carry on into the chase to help him win this championship.
Yeah, carry those 10 points there and some momentum into the chase as it starts next week.
When they reseed the top 12 next week, it'll be by bonus points. So if he were to have 4 wins, he could probably be even with Mark Martin if he were to get in, or Kyle Busch. Right now, Tony Stewart has 3 wins, would like to make it 4 tonight. Dave.
And Doc, remember, he started 29th tonight, admitted that he overdrove turn 1 in his qualifying attempt, and that set them back. Crew Chief Darian Grubb told me, that's okay. We'll gamble if we have to get track position, but I don't think they'll have to. He's passed a lot of cars since the drop of the green flag.
Yeah, you're right, Dave. He solved that problem of having to take any gambles as far as 2 tires or anything like that on pit road by just being very solid here at the beginning of this race.
Now, what about Carl Edwards, who came into this race 5th in the point standings, and he is dropping like a rock, Vince?
Carl Edwards started 10th. He's currently running 30th and just gave crew chief Bob Osborne an update on his car condition.
Yeah, it's a little free. A little bit tight in the center. Snappy loose off big time. That's a little bit of my trouble there. We're fine, bud. Just be smooth. It'll come around.
There you hear them urging him to stay patient. There's crew chief Bob Osborne on your right. Maybe if there's any saving grace is that one of the things around Carl Edwards are a couple of teammates, Greg Biffle and Matt Kenseth, are at least in the neighborhood of Carl as he takes a peek inside in traffic.
Carl Edwards already dropped back 5 positions after coming in 5th tonight because of the struggling handling on the car. Heavy traffic for our leader, Denny Hamlin, trying to go underneath Joe Nemechek. Not easy to do on that tight turn 2.
That makes it pretty tough. He made a nice move around another car there and was able to then clear Joe Nemechek too. So Denny Hamlin's got a very good handling race car.
71 car, Mike Bliss, as well as the 66 of Dave Blaney, have headed back to the garage area. Still 41 cars on the racetrack. 35 of those are on the lead lap. It is Denny Hamlin, our leader, Mark Martin in 2nd. The 24 car there, Jeff Gordon, the 2-time Richmond winner, now being shown in 3rd spot.
Look at Matt Kenseth. He's racing Keselowski really hard, and Carl Edwards right behind him. Greg Biffle's even further behind this group and really struggling out there.
Yeah, if we went 2 cars back of the 99, you'd find Greg Biffle. So Jack Rouse can't be too happy with what he's seeing right there, right now. But how about the 17, Jamie?
I talked to Matt Kenseth today, DJ, and he was telling me, it's no surprise that this organization has been struggling. He said, we are not a championship caliber team right now. If we don't make the chase, I'll be disappointed, but not surprised. Right now, his car is tight through the center. There was a miscommunication earlier when he came in and pitted on lap 6. He hasn't made up a whole lot of ground since then, guys.
Matt Kenseth now being shown back in 27th position, and that's the bad news. And even the worst news is his teammate Carl Edwards is back there with him.
Oh, got him trouble here. Tony Stewart's around with Reed Sorensen. All right, 3-wide battle that went bad.
Damage on the right side of the 14 car. That will bring out caution for the second time.
It looks like Stewart has a lot of damage. He can keep going.
His problem is he's getting lapped back there.
No, he's got a big tire mark down the right side.
Reed Sorensen there in the Dodge informed this week that he would not have that ride in 2010.
That was my fault, guys.
It was Tony Stewart that you heard there, and that was his fault. Here we go, Tony down the inside. You could just see that he got loose trying to get there. He was trying to let his car roll really fast and maybe clear both of those cars out of turn 4, but he got sideways and into Reed Sorensen. Even the best make mistakes sometimes.
Yeah, and Stewart's in the position where he can be a little more aggressive tonight, but that might just be going a little too hard.
That was taking it over the edge there.
Well, David Strimmy did a nice job to save his car up high, but those two spun, and it's a wonder no one hit them. Here they come down pit road for the first time tonight, 40 miles an hour. Let's go down to Shannon's Fake.
Casey Kane, coming off that great win last weekend, says the car is loose in, loose off. They are going to make an air pressure adjustment as well as a track bar adjustment. Vince.
Kurt Busch right there in the center in the number 2 car. Loose in, loose off, tight in the center. Making an air pressure adjustment in the right rear. Sunoco fuel and a wedge adjustment as well. Dave.
Leader Denny Hamlin at the bottom of your screen. Air out of the rear tires. A little tight in turns 3 and 4. Track bar adjustment as well. And also Mark Martin had dropped to second from his pole position run. Mark said I need to roll the center better. They'll get 4 tires and an air pressure and a wedge adjustment for Mark.
Very close off of pit road. Jeff Gordon's bunch gets him out. He will gain a position. Hamlin will hold the lead.
Junior gains 3 spots.
And Jimmy Johnson back 2, and Kevin Harvick staying in the top 10. Under caution for the second time of night. 3 cars involved. Tony Stewart and Reed Sorensen get the most damage.
Come on, baby, catch me.
Under caution here at Richmond International Raceway, the Chevy Rock and Roll 400. Denny Hamlin came on pit road first and came off pit road first, so he continues to be our leader. Our Aaron's Lucky Dog free pass winner for the caution flag is the 6th car of David Reagan. He was the first car a lap down, and he will get back on the lead lap. That'll give us 32 cars now on the lead lap.
I heard a lot of guys making changes and adjustments. I hope they were listening to Rusty and didn't over-adjust him.
That's right. We talked about that in the beginning. The track is probably getting it to a point now, though, that it's starting to stabilize a little bit.
Set for the green flag here, the 18 car. If you were just joined our coverage, Kyle Busch has not led a lap. He needs to lead some laps and maybe get up there and win this thing if he's going to get into chase. Right now they're chasing Denny Hamlin.
I don't think in Kyle Busch's, certainly it would help him points-wise if he were to lead all the laps, but I don't think that he has to get there and overextend himself right now. If he can just work on his race car and methodically get there by the end of the race, then he'll be okay, and that'll give him a chance at this.
That's what he did at Bristol, Tennessee. He was very methodical and very careful when talking about the 18 of Kyle Busch, and he finally got there with about 40 laps to go and was able to make it work and pulled off the win.
Yeah, he's got a good car. His car looks pretty good as far as handling, and no need to get in a big rush.
Junior there racing on the inside of him. He's got a good race car, too.
His crew gained him a few spots on pit road. That's got to fire him up, too.
That's always nice as a driver. Tight, short track racing makes it difficult to pass.
Junior makes the pass. Goes by Kyle Busch. There's a 29 car of Harvick. You see the 44 behind him, Allmendinger. Up high is the 9 car of Casey Kane. Here comes the 42 of Juan Pablo Montoya.
Yeah, doing exactly what he needs to do also. Just kind of getting himself in a position there, running right where he needs to. R.J. Allmendinger having a good night there just in front of Jimmy Johnson.
Well, Kevin Harvick and his Richard Childress team, they may have missed the chase, but they have certainly turned things around the last couple of weeks.
They really have. I mean, you look right here, he's on the move. He's going forward and running up front. Last week had a great car, had a winning car really last week if the situation would have worked out for him.
Yeah, and you talk to Kevin and Richard, and they're both very confident. You get a lot of good vibes from them that, hey, they performed a lot better than what their record shows. Just circumstances have taken them out of a lot of races.
Shannon?
Well, Kevin Harvick started this race 19th, currently running 9th. He said the car was a little bit tight under throttle. They did make an air pressure adjustment on that pit stop. 4 tires. I spoke with his crew chief, Gil Martin. He said, guys, this last week's race was not a fluke. Had a great finish in Atlanta. He said, we have been running well for the past 8 weeks. We just don't have the finishes.
He finished second at Atlanta, led 66 laps. We're talking about the 29 car on the left of your screen there, Kevin Harvick. You're riding along with Jimmy Johnson, a 3-time champion and defending winner of this race. And up front, Jeff Gordon getting racy, trying to become the 3rd different leader tonight.
And he's all over Denny Hamlin's bumper here, trying to take this lead.
They got a slow car right on the backstretch on the bottom. Yeah, it's like it's a caution.
It's a 78 car again. I heard him when he came by. It was like a while ago he was not powered before that last caution, and then it was like maybe he switched boxes or something and got it running again, and then it sounded like that he had a big problem.
Yeah, I heard something pop real big on the front straightaway coming out of that car. Didn't make it back around.
Regan Smith, the reigning rookie of the year, ran 35 of the 36 races a year ago, did not have a single DNF. And some short track tempers flaring already here. I'll show you what happened between these two guys here a moment ago.
Yeah, they were coming out of turn 4 a minute ago, almost 3 wide, but Marcus Ambrose down the inside gets up into Jamie McMurray.
Boy, Jamie does a good job of saving it there. It's one thing, Ambrose not afraid to stick his nose in there.
No, he's not that.
Marcus Ambrose had a very good finish here back in the spring, and Jamie McMurray is driving for a ride because that 26 car doesn't have a place to go next year, neither does he right now. So a lot of aggression on some of these drivers, a lot of different agendas on this racetrack.
Yeah, we might see a different agendas here too as far as hitting pit road right now.
Yeah, you can see Matt Kenseth's team getting ready. They're running at the back half of the field. They'll most likely come in this time and get tires. You might see the leader stay out here. You see Denny Hamlin now bypassing the entrance to pit road. But you'll see about the back half, back third of the field come in this time.
There's our Aaron's Lucky Dog, the 43 car. Reed Sorensen, first car lap down. He'll be able to get the Lucky Dog free pass and get back on the lead lap. And Andy, just what you said, the guys in the back of the field headed down pit road. Kenseth is there. Let's go down to Jamie.
Matt Kenseth said he's definitely turning better, but he needs more help. He's still tight in the middle. They said we have nothing to lose. Just come in, give me 4 tires, and get me out of there. But watch, he got blocked in behind the 55 last time. The 16, his teammate, is in. Both been struggling with their cars tonight. Both get down and away. They both thought the same thing. Nothing to lose. Only 6 cars on the lead lap behind him, guys.
Kenny, you sounded.
Ryan McRae showing you how to get it done there for Paul Menard. He's the rear tire carrier, carrying our camera and microphone. Under caution for the 3rd time tonight here. After an incident involving the 78 car, the car just quit on the backstretch. Getting set for the restart now. The 17 car on pit road a moment ago, and they were very concerned about how he might be getting blocked in by the 55. Now watch Michael Waltrip come in.
Yeah, you see that 55 car, they've been hanging the rear of the car out on that pit box. It's legal, but it's still in the way of Matt Kenseth. Now this time he gets through there, but it costs him a little bit of time. You can see Drew Blickensderfer talking to Gene Need, the crew chief, saying, hey, give us a break, man.
NASCAR has told the 55, you've rolled a tire twice. If it happens again and you can't control the tires, we'll let you change tires in the garage area. So that's a warning heeded by the 55. Denny Hamlin shows the outside line on the restart. This time he'd been on the inside the 2 previous times. Dave.
And Doc, they did that to see how it would go. They said, how about a good time to try this early in the race? That's what they've done. And he clears Jeff Gordon, so he can run fast in both lanes on the restart.
Yeah, that's what we were just speculating up here, Dave. But this is a good time to be checking that out, see if it'll work. Because you need to know that if it comes right down to the end of the race, you need to know what lane you need to be in if you have the choice.
I think his problem with the 24 is going to be in this. If he get a little bit of heat in these tires, that 24 is very, very good. That might be a bigger concern than the restarts. You look back through there, you can see Kyle Busch has fallen back a little bit.
Now, this is not as good a run as he had in the first stint. And these cars are side by side all the way back through the field.
Got a battle for the lead now. Jeff Gordon trying to make this inside pass.
Oh, man, that was tight.
Jeff Gordon has not led a lap tonight. Denny Hamlin has led the last 63, and Gordon makes the pass.
Yeah, Denny wasn't going to push the issue. He knows he has a really good car, but now he's just going to say, I can do that too.
So officially, Jeff Gordon has yet to lead a lap because they measured those laps led at the start-finish line. He's got to hang on coming out of turn 4. He will this time.
Three wide, man, look at this.
Sam Hornish in the middle of that mess on the inside. Jeff Burton on the outside to 33 of Boyer.
And Matt Kenseth sticking that nose in there.
Yeah, 16 right in front of him. Definitely not where these guys want to be right now. Going to have to get their cars better and get out of this spot.
Yeah, Matt has to be aggressive. He can't sit back and just let it come to him. He's got to be aggressive and get up through there.
You know, he's not even really right now putting pressure on Brian Vickers to have to run in the top 5. Vickers is sitting here outside the top 10 actually, but he's still sitting in that 12th spot.
Denny Hamlin trying to look to the inside and retake the lead. Jeff Gordon will slam the door.
We'll have some company here in a minute. Here comes Martin Truex in that one car.
It looked like he might have made his car a little better after that last pit stop. Martin would certainly like to get his race team a win.
He had such a great race last week, Martin Truex did, early, and then fell off at the end.
There's the bubble battle right side of your screen. The 18 car and the 83 Busch and Vickers. They're 13th and 14th. 83 Vickers came in 20 points back at 12th. The 18 of Kyle Busch came in 37 back. They got to get up and lead a lap and get it done. They got to be up probably in the top 5 to have any kind of shot.
Yeah, Brian Vickers knowing that he needs to finish ahead of this 18 car just to ensure that he stays in front of him and give himself that opportunity to be in that 12th spot.
They both can look up at that scoreboard and know we got a lot of laps left.
A lot to go.
More on Kyle Busch. Dave.
Well, this is going to be a little dicey, Doc, as he tries to race his way into the chase. They may have adjusted that car in an interesting sort of way that they might not be able to change. First, listen to his radio.
Will not get in the corner, will not turn to center, will not exit. 5 loose in, 5 tight center, 4 loose off.
Now, during the last run, Kyle said to his crew chief, Steve Addington, we may have made the wrong choice on rear-end housing. Guys, is there anything you can do to adjust that once the race gets going?
Only one way I know you can do it, Dave, and that's to smack it against the wall. That's an adjustment you cannot make during the race.
Tony Stewart has been on pit road in the 14 car. He's being shown a lap down in 34th position, but to his right side are the 16 and 17 car of Biffle and Kenseth, and they're back there with him as well, not running very well, 24th and 25th.
That's also Ryan Newman, who's still fighting for his life in this chase scenario. Tony would rather that he would have encountered running up on him a lot further up in the pack, being that he owns that car of Ryan Newman's.
In the 6-year history of the chase, I have never seen it this close coming to the final regular season race of the year.
You can see right there, Matt Kenseth is showing out of the chase the way they're running. And don't think that team down there doesn't see that too. That's what's putting so much pressure on this team.
Right now, Brian Vickers would be in. He has never made a chase.
Well, as you said, we still have a lot of racing to go. 325 laps, but yeah, we have to keep up with this, let you know what's going on, and yeah, it's a lot of fun to keep up with. See Matt Kenseth's car go up the racetrack there.
Jimmy Johnson going on the high side, trying to take the 3rd spot away. Martin Truex, you're watching, you're seeing what Mark Martin's watching on the racetrack.
We're starting to see this high line work more and more.
And I mean, Jimmy's way up there too. He's up all the way in that 3rd lane.
Yeah, I'm watching Kevin Harvick. He's up there, and Casey Kane's running a lot of laps up there.
Well, if Jimmy Johnson gets his car running, look out, folks, because he is very, very good at this racetrack. He's won the last 2 fall races. 3 times he's gone to victory lane in the last 5 events here. Right now, they're chasing Jeff Gordon.
Brings you an inside look at today's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race on the Now Network with the current top 3 in points. Tony Stewart in the top spot. Jeff Gordon holding down 2nd in the championship at the moment with Jimmy Johnson hanging in 3rd. All 3 of those drivers locked into the chase for the Sprint Cup, and the top speed now 144 miles an hour. Kurt Busch set that in the 2 car a little bit earlier in the race. For more NASCAR stats, in-car audio, and live race audio, check out NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile at sprint.com/speed. From our ESPN Pit Studio, Alan Bestwick, Rusty Wallace, and Brad Doherty as this race approaches the 1/4 mark, and Jeff Gordon has opened up a sizable lead. Early impressions, Mr. 6-time Richmond winner?
I guess my impressions are that the top groove of this racetrack really is working good. You can run all over it. Take a look at Greg Bilfo on the top. You see Ryan Newman up there, a lot of grip up there, and you need to be able to get your car working good there if you're going to be able to make the passes. Also very impressed with what Kevin Harvick's doing, running in 5th, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. having a pretty good run so far, Brad.
Yeah, you're right. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Martin Truex, Kevin Harvick. The past 3 weeks, these 3 guys, I know they wish they could rewind this season because they're all starting to run well. Brian Vickers is doing an outstanding job, putting a lot of pressure right now on Matt Kenseth.
Dale Jr. riding with him. He's running in 13th position, trying to find a way using that high line to ride around Kyle Busch and see if he can take a spot away. Big focus of the night, trying to get those spots in the chase for the Sprint Cup. Got some going pretty speedy, got some kind of struggling, Doc, DJ, and Andy.
Final race of the regular season, folks, who just joined it, and that's what they're talking about. You got to try to get into playoffs here. NASCAR calls it the chase for the Sprint Cup. There's a 24 car of Jeff Gordon. He is locked into the chase. Behind him, Denny Hamlin, Jimmy Johnson, and Mark Martin. That's a top 4. Kevin Harvick back in 5th position.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon and his team just thinking about bonus points here. So that's really all they're considering. Mark Martin, he's kind of in a safe spot here. Not really totally happy with his race car, but able to still get the job done. Let's listen in.
Not that good. I know it doesn't look bad, but it's not very good. Let us know we need to fix you up. It's doing fine here. I don't know how to fix it. It's turning just barely enough, and it's pretty loose. So you can't fix it, I don't think. So we got some ideas.
Alan Gustafson trying to keep Mark Martin's head in the game. Remember, he could clinch if he finishes 12th or better. No one else can do anything to stop that, but he's got other things going on around him. And in fact, one of the things that can help this car come around is changing conditions. Mark just radioed in. I'm pretty neutral right now. Okay, Alan, take one idea off the page. You don't have to fix the 5 car quite as much now.
I really like the way Alan Gustafson handled that situation right there. Very positive on the radio, makes Mark feel really good that, hey, I've got an idea here to fix this thing. Don't worry about it.
We talked about Alan Gustafson being a young crew chief, but being very intelligent, and Mark Martin certainly is very impressed by the young man he's working with.
I've talked to Mark many times. He loves Alan Gustafson.
Kind of living a second childhood, and he's my hero, my childhood hero. So bright. He is so bright and so smart and so strong. It takes a lot of pressure off of me. It's really, really great. And when I took this deal, I thought I knew how good Alan was. Well, I found out more since.
Mark Martin has said the last month and a half he wants to get in the chase, not for him, but for Alan Gustafson and this whole crew that have worked so hard to get him a chance to come back and maybe win a championship. He wants to give back to those guys.
That's exactly what Mark told me. He said he wants to put Alan Gustafson on the map. That's one of his big goals of going over to Hendrick, because he really does like him. He's a big fan of Alan Gustafson. I think he is maybe one of the underrated crew chiefs down there.
Here's a battle for 11th position, and now Kyle Busch will take that spot away, and in front of Kyle Busch is the 83 car of Brian Vickers, and if the race were to end right now, Brian Vickers, DJ, would be in the chase.
Yeah, but you can see Vickers there doing okay. Kyle Busch looks like his car's coming around a little bit, but we got one guy that's really struggling, started the night in that 12th spot. But here's Matt Kenseth, and he's just not doing well at all. He just got passed by Bobby Labonte. That put him back to the 29th spot. Jamie, what are they saying?
Well, things are just getting worse. Matt Kenseth talking to his new crew chief this year, Drew Blickensterfer, saying, I have no front grip, I have no rear grip. As of right now, he is 14th in points. Andy, what is this pressure like for this first-time crew chief this year? What can he do to help his driver?
Jamie, that's the worst thing you want to hear, is that you don't have grip on either end. You can fix it if it's pushing. You can change it, if it's loose. But when you have no grip on both ends, it's just about impossible to fix it on any kind of normal pit stop situation. But the pressure on that pit box, you're looking at Drew Blickensterfer. I can't tell you how much pressure is on that young man right now.
Moving it on the 1/4 mark, pushing 100 of 400 laps here at Richmond International Raceway. And up front, last year's winner, Jimmy Johnson, being shown back in the 3rd position. as Johnson is a 3-time winner here at Richmond. In second spot, Denny Hamlin, the local boy, and the guy they're chasing, the 4-time champ, Jeff Gordon.
If you can.
To qualify for NASCAR's Chase for the Sprint Cup, you are looking at it live from Virginia's capital city. And boy, it's starting off in most interesting fashion. Matt Kenseth, who came into the race tonight as the bubble guy, 12th place in points in the championship, is struggling in this race while Brian Vickers and Kyle Busch are running decently. You see points as they race now at the 1/4 mark of the race. Vickers would bump Kenseth out of that top 12 and get a spot in the championship, and Kenseth would have to wait till next year to race for the title. On the racetrack, Kyle Busch just passed Brian Vickers for 10th spot, so even between those two guys, it's so close.
Oh, it's real close right now, but the guy in the danger zone, definitely Matt Kenseth. He's got to be talking to this crew chief. They got to figure something out. They can't give up. They got to stay grinding because this guy right now is in big trouble.
You said the key word, you cannot give up. And we heard Matt Kenseth as well as Mark Martin both say that their race cars were basically unfixable. That's that pressure we talked about in our countdown show. They got to keep grinding, find a way to advance their race cars, and with their crew chiefs, Alan Gustafson and Drew Blickensdorfer, I think they can do it as the day goes on.
Jeff Gordon is the race leader in the 24 car, and he's got a little bit of heavy traffic to deal with as we go back to Dr. Jerry Punch, Dale Jarrett, and Andy Petrie.
Lots of traffic.
Yellow's
and
before you against the wall. Yellow, yellow. Front stretch.
you heard exactly what happened. Caution now being shown for the 4th time tonight.
Yeah, big break for Matt Kenseth, too, because he was only about 2 seconds from getting lapped by Jeff Gordon. So now they'll allow him to work on this race car, see if they can make anything out of it, Andy.
And they need to pull something here.
Back in 28th position. He pitted on lap 6 in the first caution flag. Thought they could make it better. They were back in heavy traffic.
We're going to put the air back that we just took out. Air back to original. We're going to shove a rubber in the right rear to help your center. Okay, 2 runs ago I thought it turned a little better, but we only ran 7 laps. This run I thought I was tighter.
There's your lucky dog, free pass winner, Tony Stewart. Now, he ran good that segment right there, even though he was a lap down. His car was a lot better than it was. It was actually just really good. He got in that spin and lost that lap, but his car's good. Leaders are on pit road.
Triple pit showing some of the bubble contenders. Let's go down to Shannon.
Well, Casey Kane has a nice opening right in front of his pit stall. He says that the car is loose in, loose off. They are going to make a wedge adjustment on this 9 car and 4 tires, Vince.
The 2-car of Kurt Busch, loose in, tied off. They're going to make air pressure adjustments in the right front and the left rear and give him some wedge as well. Let's go to Dave.
Well, the 5 car has come around, Vince. No changes to the 5 this time other than 4 fresh Goodyear tires, full of Sunoco fuel for Mark Martin, our pole sitter, finishing up on the left side now and leaving pit road. There's Matt Kenseth. He's still on pit road.
17 car came all the way and missed his pits, Andy.
He missed it by 2 or 3 stalls. I mean, this team's falling apart right here at this part of the race. I don't know what caused this, but he completely missed his pit stall.
Yeah, a lot of times you can still be talking whenever you're entering there, and it just comes up on because he has one of the first 6 or 7 pits in there.
See right here, he just completely drove by his pit. He's in Michael Waltrip's pit area. I guess he only went but 1 spot, but it looked like he missed it by 3.
Well, you might as well miss it by 3 if you're going there.
So troubles continue for the driver who was squarely on the bubble, and right now, as of this moment, he is out of the chase. Back in a moment.
Against the grain should be.
Back to Richmond International Raceway, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, the Chevy Rock and Roll 400. Jeff Gordon is our leader. Denny Hamlin in second spot, about 7 car lengths back. Then Jimmy Johnson, Kurt Busch, and Mark Martin. They are the top 5.
Seems like every restart, the top 5 or 10 cars kind of get strung out single file, but the rest of them stay double file or 3 wide further back through the field.
Now Kyle Busch trying to move on the outside of A.J. Allmendinger to take a spot away. That would be 7th position, so Kyle's car starting to come back a little bit.
Yeah, a little better, but A.J. Allmendinger having a nice run tonight. He's got this car up in the top 10 and pulled away from Kyle Busch now.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88 car down on the inside. That's the 42 of Montoya up high. Jeff Burton, the 31 car, and the 1 of Truex. as of right now, the 18 car, by showing where he is on the racetrack, 8th, he has moved into 12th in the point standing. So if the race were to end right now, Kyle Busch would be in the chase.
But if Brian Vickers makes one pass on Martin Truex or whoever right there, then he's in, and the 18's out.
We're talking about the Hail Marys and the buzzer beaters. It's a hold your breath night here in NASCAR because one position change.
Whoa. Down on the apron is Sam Hornish. Makes a good move right there. It could have been pretty risky.
Yeah, he was almost putting Casey Mears in a really bad spot right there, who was around Casey Kane, and that could have been devastating to him.
Let's update the 07 car of Casey Mears. Dave.
Having a really good run, Doc. He started 38th on the day, made an early pit stop to make some adjustments on that car, and it's been running ever since. On the last run, he ran from 24th all the way up to 15th and then restarted on the outside of row 7. So a good run for Casey. Shannon?
Casey Kane had a little bit of a slow pit stop, lost 2 positions on pit road. But guys, you were talking about his teammate, AJ Allmendinger, running in the top 10. I spoke with Kenny Francis. He said the best thing that our teammates can do is put positions between us and the guys that we are racing to get in this chase. That's what we have teammates for, and that's what we're going to look for them tonight.
Yeah, they just assume them not be in front of them putting positions.
Right, that's what I was going to say. Not playing
the
nice.
only problem.
He's in front of the 9 right now. Allmendinger is.
The 9 car owned by Richard Petty Motorsports. They made a big announcement this week. They were going to merge with the Yates Racing for 2010. All these cars would be Fords next year. A 4-car team involving Paul Menard, Casey Kane, Elliott Sadler, and that 44 car of AJ Allmendinger. Pretty close call moments ago between these 2 cars, the 83 of Vickers and the 9 of Casey Kane.
Right along. Oh yeah, that's real close. Brian Vickers very lucky that he didn't get a flat tire from the splitter right there. We've seen that happen a number of times this year, and on these short tracks it really could happen very easily.
Boy, a cut tire for Brian Vickers would be devastating here if he were to get in the wall, lose some laps. I mean, his chances of making it in the chase, he has come so far this year. 5 and 2 battling. That's for 4th spot. Kurt Busch, a former winner here. And Mark Martin, who won here back in 1990. And behind him, Kevin Harvick trying to move in and make it a 3-way battle for position.
Looks like Mark might have made his car a little bit better after that last adjustment, those pit stops.
See Dale Earnhardt Jr. He runs on the bottom a few laps after they put new tires on, but then he moves up to the top. You see him right here. He's working the top lane, but Vickers gets by him.
That's not working too good for him.
Well, not yet. It's been working pretty good after they get some laps on the tires. I don't think it's really come around for Junior yet. Now he's back on the bottom.
This is 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th you're watching on the screen. Brian Vickers in 12th spot and Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to take it away. Kevin Harvick.
It's like his car's really good after a few laps also. He gets about 8 or 10 laps on his tires and gets the air pressures up. He starts moving forward as he takes that 5th spot away from Kurt Busch.
Yeah, RCR having a pretty good night. He's got 2 cars, Richard does, in the top 10. He's got Jeff Burton running in 10th, and now you see the 29 car running right there with Kurt Busch in the top 5. Shannon?
Loose off is what Kevin Harvick is saying about the car, guys, but I would not expect any major changes. Gil Martin, his crew chief, came down last night during the nationwide race, checked out the tires. He was also watching how the track changed. He said that it started to tighten up, and that is something that he noticed. It is also, it helped him set this car up today, so he expects the track to tighten up a little bit, so I wouldn't expect them to try to tighten up the car. Vince?
Kurt Busch right behind Kevin Harvick. Busch entered this race 7th in points tonight, and they were confident that if they just were able to come out and run their race and not have any major issues, they would be good to get in the chase. So far, so good, although Kurt has been radioing in, talking about vibration in his brakes, so they're giving him some information in regarding turning the fans off, trying to get those brakes to work a little bit better, but certainly feeling a little discomfort as he pushes on that brake pedal in the 2 car.
Well, that's been an issue with this car. A brake pedal shake from the rotors getting hot, and then sometimes they can turn these fans off and let the rotors get even a little bit hotter and smooth that pedal out a little bit. But that shake has been a real issue.
Guys, give a call to Sam Hornish in that 77 car here. Back in the spring, Hornish started back in 28th position and finished an impressive 6th. And now he has gone around several cars, including the 9 of Casey Kane and Earnhardt Jr. to take the 13th spot away.
Yeah, and I was going to say that he has utilized that top side that Andy was talking about a lot, but he's also making passes on the bottom and in the middle of cars, so he's just doing a terrific job. I want to go back just a second to what something Shannon was saying. Some fans might want to know, we may have some new fans to tune in tonight just about this chase. What makes a racetrack get tighter, and that would be rubber getting down on the racetrack and as it cools off even more. So those are the two things that can make this track change a little bit, and these guys have to really try to stay on top of that.
Watching these two cars battle on a racetrack, one pass on the track, Andy, has huge implications.
Well, that's just how dynamic this race is. I mean, it's going to change all night long. You're going to see that with every position change. And that's why it's so much pressure. I mean, really, just so much pressure on these guys. And you see Kenseth, he's really been out of the chase in this cutoff point all race long.
Yeah, Kenseth is the one that has a lot of work ahead of him. It looks like right now that Kyle Busch and Brian Vickers are going to battle all night long for that 12th spot.
And we are just 132 laps and not even close to halfway home here at Richmond on a rough and tumble short track on a Saturday night. Hold on, Gordon now has led twice for 70 laps. On Thursday, September 24th, the whole world will black out at exactly the same time. Everyone will see a flash of their own future, and mankind will take on the greatest mystery it's ever faced. ABC's Flash Forward new series premiere Thursday, September 24th at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 7 Central on ABC. Gordon the leader, Hamlin in second spot, Jimmy Johnson back in third, and back in fourth spot is the 5 car of Mark Martin.
These the guys we racing struggling. 18's coming a little bit, he's 7th, but the 99, 16, 17, and 39 are.
Everyone handles the chase differently. Mark came in here without any guarantees in 10th position. I asked Alan Gustafson if he likes to hear on the radio what the other guys are doing. He says, yeah, he likes to hear scenarios. He wants to know what's going on around him, and there's proof positive. That was lap 133.
Mark is a very cerebral driver, and he's been here enough, he should know. I mean, he came here for the first time when he was 22 years old. He has run 47 races here, and tonight at the age of 50, trying to become the oldest driver ever to qualify for NASCAR's postseason.
I don't know that I've ever seen a better Mark Martin than I've seen this year, though. I've just been so impressed with what he's done on the racetrack. And then his attitude, I think that's a lot of it. I've seen a different attitude out of Mark this year than I've ever seen.
Yeah, and he makes that pass for around Jimmy Johnson for that 3rd spot. And, you know, if he's able to continue this through the night, then he goes to the top of the list when we get to New Hampshire next week.
Talk about a good attitude. You'll have one next week, won't he?
Yeah, and the reason he does that is because he has 4 wins, and that's how we reset the points for our playoff system. Unless Kyle Busch would win tonight, and he would have 5 victories. But Mark's 4 wins are going to put him either 1st or 2nd as we head to New Hampshire next week.
He's up for the lead right here. Denny Hamlin has run down Jeff Gordon.
Hamlin has led the most laps here 2 of the last 3 races, but has never won in a Cup car at his home racetrack. Right on the deck of Gordon there, coming up off the corner.
Hey, Gordon had a little bit of trouble with the traffic that he ran up on, and that let Hamlin get back to his bumper. See if he can get this pass. Shannon?
That's exactly right. Jeff Gordon told his crew chief that he is tight in traffic. Great by himself. There was no changes on that last pit stop. Steve Letarte has told me before, if the handling is off but the car is fast, I'm not touching the handling.
Well, that's a good move. I mean, that's what the bottom line is speed. It doesn't matter what it feels like.
That's exactly it. Yeah, it's a matter of how much, whether it's tight or loose, whichever one you're doing, as long as it's better than the other cars, you're okay.
Exactly.
We talked about how good the 14 car of Tony Stewart has been this year. And, of course, the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. But that 24 is going to be a factor in the chase.
We've got a great 10-race chase setting up, and we've got to get through tonight. But we've got a lot of good race teams and cars and drivers that have won championships. Mark Martin trying to win his first, so that's just going to be great. But we can talk about that next week.
There's a 19 car of Elliott Sadler. News this week that he and wife Amanda are expecting their first child in March. And this is the home track, by the way, for Elliott Sadler, the native Virginia boy, as you see the 77 of Sam Hornish going by.
Yeah, Sam's still having a good run here tonight. He's up in the 13th spot.
See the 9 car going by. That's a team car to Elliott Sadler. The 9 is Casey Kane being shown back in 14th position.
And Elliott Sadler, he's already 2 laps down.
Yeah, this has been a racetrack that Elliott over the years has just struggled at. It's he hasn't found it, and he would love to run good here because he obviously lives not very far from here.
Back up front, Denny Hamlin had backed up about 3 or 4 car lengths and has now let his tires cool and moves underneath, or tries to look underneath the 24 car for Jeff Gordon for the lead.
They've been running almost identical lap times for the last 20 laps, the 24 and the 11. So this is a good race, you can see. And now the 83 gets clear of Martin Truex in the 1 car.
And by doing that, Brian Vickers now will move to 12th in the point standings by 1 single point over Kyle Busch.
Okay, you see this battle for the lead now. It's heating up. Looks like Hamlin's going to get it away from Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, looks like Jeff's car's just gotten a little bit tighter yet. Just the conditions that we were talking about earlier, this racetrack tightening up, and as it does in your race cars, that you see Denny Hamlin pull off of that corner, get a little bit more of a lead.
There have now been 5 lead changes, making 6 lead changes among 4 different drivers.
As we approach halfway, our Bush's Baked Beans race rundown. Some of the chasers with close calls. That's Greg Biffle and Matt Kenseth just avoiding a Scott Speed wreck 4 laps into the race. Tony Stewart, championship leader starting the night, has had trouble.
Oh, yeah, he's had 2 bad races in a row, and now this is his 3rd, but he's starting to recover right now. He's back in the lead lap, and he's getting better.
And Matt Kenseth has had trouble both in the pits and on the track.
Started 28th, currently running 25th, just cannot get any momentum going. He and Drew Blickensderfer need to pick up their game before we get to halfway, or this could be a long night.
First had the trouble with getting blocked in his pit by Michael Waltrip, then overran his own pit. And right now, Matt Kenseth running back in 25th position, while Brian Vickers and Kyle Busch are doing fairly well. They're racing for spots on the racetrack. They're racing for a place in the chase. Busch is currently running in 7th on the speedway. Vickers right now has slipped back to 13th position. So as we approach the midway point of tonight's event, we look at that bubble in the all-important race to get into the top 12 in points for the NASCAR Sprint Cup chase for the championship. You see at the moment, Kyle Busch is barely in.
Oh, yeah, he's looking pretty good right now. Me and Brad said that Kyle Busch and Vickers won't get in. Right now, we're looking pretty stupid.
That's easy to do, though.
I'll let that one sit for a little while. There's a lot of racing to go. Let's go up to speed and find out how some of the Bubble boys are doing. Dave has got Kyle Busch's team.
Yeah, and the track is changing, so Rusty, you can change your mind later, then you won't look so bad. Hey, Kyle's only picked up 1 spot since the last restart. Remember how he thought they chose the wrong rear end housing for this race? Remember how he was struggling? Well, I've never known him not to fight when the car isn't working well. And 20 laps into this run, he radioed to his crew, it's a lot better. Good news. Shannon?
Casey Kane currently 9th in the points. He's been loose since the start of the race. Now, Kane has described this weekend as exciting, but his crew chief, Kenny Francis, says, man, it has been stressful. However, this is the furthest ahead in points that Casey Kane has been coming into Richmond. So while they're not locked in, they feel pretty good. Vince?
Brian Vickers came into this night just outside the chase. He was 13th. Now he's crept closer to that line, but he is still in the 13th position in points. He's been pretty happy with his race car, losing the front end on the long runs. This historically has not been a good racetrack for Brian Vickers, but they're having a pretty solid run so far tonight, Shannon.
Ryan Newman currently holding tight at 10th in the points. He has been loose off, making it very hard for him to pass, and that's been difficult because he started this race 21st. Crew chief told me the plan was to stick to their game, and that was to start the race, pick people off one by one, try not to get 3 wide, and then start their strategy in the second half of this race. Jamie?
Greg Biffle said yesterday, this sport is all about the chase. If you miss it, there's nothing to look forward to the rest of the year. Right now, he says his car is losing its brakes, and he's tight in the middle. He needs some more adjustments. He runs 19th. Vince?
How about the night Carl Edwards has had? He came into the night 5th in points, but he dropped back all the way to 31st after starting 10th. Now he's moved up to 21st, but he's still slipped down 4 positions. positions in the point standings. He's currently 9th in points. He hasn't pushed the panic button, says the car is a little bit free in and tight in the middle, but otherwise they're making their way slowly but surely through the field. Jamie?
And his teammate Matt Kenseth, he has made the chase all 5 years of its existence. But between pit road issues and a car that lacks grip, right now he is 14th in points. That means he would be out of the chase. They got to keep working and move forward, guys.
There's the leader, the 11 car of Denny Hamlin, and we're just talking about Matt Kenseth a moment ago. Wow, I mean, he's made every single chase, and he's in jeopardy of not making it. But we got lots of laps to go tonight. Denny Hamlin also knows that leading a lot of laps here at Richmond doesn't always mean you win the race. In fact, the driver who has led the most laps the last 7 races here has not won the race. Hamlin, our leader. Back in a moment. You're watching ESPN on ABC. The Speedway, debris on the racetrack, and this will be the caution for the 5th time tonight. We had been green since lap 112 for the last 60 laps. And now these leaders and all the cars will be coming on pit road for fresh Goodyear.
Big break for Matt Kenseth.
Yeah, he was within a second that time of getting lapped in. These guys, even though they're not running that well, it might be their night yet. We've seen them a lot of times. They have still over 200 laps to get it right.
That car just got lapped a moment ago. Behind the 11 is the 7 car. He'll get the free pass, David Gilliland. Well, pit crew's getting on the wall. Got to get it done here. 4 tires. They continue to adjust, and I'm not sure what you can do now to Matt Kenseth. He's getting a little bit better, but got a long way to go.
Well, I'm sure Drew Blickensdorfer, the crew chief, has a plan.
Yeah, they might as well throw something at it, and you know, shouldn't be small steps probably right now. They need to make a big difference.
They'll have to take a big swing, and here come the leaders down. They get down to 40 miles an hour. Lap 173, the next pit stop. Shannon.
Doc, there were no changes on the 24 last pit stop. They will make an air pressure adjustment this time to help that tight condition for Jeff Gordon. Vince.
The 2-car of Kurt Busch comes in running 5th. He said they're not making much headway in regards to the handling of the car. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment in the left front and the left rear, as well as a track bar adjustment. Dave?
Your leader, Denny Hamlin, bottom of the screen, free in, tight in the center, free off. Wedge and air pressure adjustment for him. Overall, pretty happy with the car. Mark Martin, very happy with his car. No changes to the 5, as it looks like 24 or 11, Doc.
It's like 24, Dave.
They're showing Jeff Gordon beating barely off of pit road. That timing and scoring line and the speed line are one and the same here at Richmond, and they're saying Gordon got Hamlin. That was a very close race, though, guys.
Hard to call from up here.
Yeah, and Kyle Busch picked up 1 spot, so that's important to him. Let's look here. There's Gordon getting it.
Got him by a tire width coming off pit road, and you see the 5 of Martin and Jimmy Johnson coming by. And Kurt Busch.
And there Kyle Busch just beat Harvick off pit road. Oh, that's not the way you pit. I guess that's legal.
As long as you got all 4 tires inside the lines. But
he's just facing the wrong direction.
I don't know if he's going to beat anybody off pit road like this.
What Brad's auditioning for there.
Brad Keselowski, the driver here. He's the full-time with the NASCAR Nationwide.
Oh, that's how it happened.
Oh.
When they said Brad was backwards in the pits, oh, it was Brad Daugherty.
Well, that's what normally happens on a short track Saturday night. He got a little help, by the way, from David Reagan. Back with a green flag in just a moment.
Come on, baby, catch me if you can. If today was your last day, and tomorrow was too late, could you say goodbye yesterday? If today was your last day.
The last day to claim a place in the chase for the Sprint Cup. Tonight, Chevy Rock and Roll 400 at the Richmond International Raceway. Huge crowd looking on. As we work caution, they are seeing a thrilling race for that 12th and final spot. Currently, Kyle Busch hanging on to it by 3 points over Brian Vickers, with Matt Kenseth, who started the day 12th in points, 25 points back right now in 14th spot. Carl Edwards, one of those championship contenders, running 8th in points right now, 17th on the track. This from his radio.
Hey, Bob, the motor just missed. The motor just missed one time. All right, bud, check your gauges. If you got to switch ignition boxes, go ahead. Pay attention to it, okay?
Edwards not safe. If he has an engine problem, it could kick him out of the championship. Let's go to our Craftsman Tech Garage. Tim Brewer, what are they looking at?
Tell you what they're doing, Alan. They got a primary system in here, and that's when the switch is in this location. But when they go to the backup system, what they're actually doing is changing the ignition box and the coil and the pickup inside the distributor, and that's going to eliminate that ignition system, go to the backup system. Hopefully that'll eliminate the miss in the engine.
We'll keep an eye on the Edwards situation as we get ready for the restart. Jeff Gordon's team getting him the lead off the pit stops as we get ready for the restart. We go back to Doc, DJ, and Andy.
Jeff Gordon will take the inside line. The 42 car of Juan Pablo Montoya has also lost some spots.
Yeah, man, they lost a lot of spots on pit road that last stop. We'll compare it to Kyle Busch's stop. You can see right there, left side, 6.8 seconds. I mean, that's a second and a half or 2.5 seconds slower than Kyle Busch, but they also lost time on the right side. So that 18-second stop will lose you spots every single time on pit road, but that's 8 positions for Montoya.
What was Brad talking about? The pressure will make an athlete do some unusual things. It's almost like you think about it too much, and sometimes you cannot even perform at all.
Yeah, and Dave Burns talked about how important the pit crews were and how agonizing it was on them to sit around and then have to do their job as we go back to green.
Jeff Gordon on the inside line leads Denny Hamlin down. Mark Martin is there in the 5 car. Jimmy Johnson up high, and there's the 18 of Kyle Busch, who is yet to lead a lap tonight.
So Jimmy Johnson struggling a little bit there on the outside, so Kyle Busch dives to the inside of him.
And look at Sam Hornish.
That was close.
Digging up on the outside of Kyle Busch.
Sam Hornish finished 6th here in May and trying to run up on the outside and take that spot away from Kyle Busch. That would be the 6th position. Three times for 90 laps. Hamlin has led 3 times for 88 laps. So basically these two guys have led the bulk of the race thus far. And now Denny Hamlin dives into the corner and will take that spot back away.
It seems to be the 2 best cars right now.
You can see the situation Montoya finds himself in now after losing 8 spots on pit road. This is not where he wants to be.
Greg Biffle in front of him in 17th spot. Montoya back there in 18th position. Ryan Newman also back there in 19th in the 39 car, the Army car.
And Matt Kenseth right behind those guys.
Or on the 42 car, Vince.
They did indeed lose those spots on pit road, and the crew was upset with itself for doing so. But Montoya came on the radio, and believe it or not, he was the calming influence, telling them, relax, we got a long way to go. I'm fine. The car is good. And Montoya believes that he can kind of pick his way through. Brian Patty told me before the race today, they didn't feel like they had to make any significant charge to the front tonight. They could run in the top 15 and be comfortable, not take any unnecessary chances, and they'd be just fine. They'd like to run in the top 15 because they feel like there's a little less danger in that area as compared to back further in the field. So I'd look for Juan to maybe start moving up a few more spots as this run progresses.
Yeah, he's got a good look at a 3-wide battle right there getting into turn 3, though. That's the situation you don't want to see. I mean, because you can't control that. If they crash in front of you, you're going to be out of the race.
Plus, that was 2 other guys trying to make the chase right there with Carl Edwards and Casey Kane.
Yeah, they are 13th and 14th. Now Edwards is 13th, Kane 14th, and Montoya back in 15th. There's Brian Vickers, and he now is out of the top 12 by a scant 3 points. The 83 car being shown in 10th position.
If he could get in front of that 1 car, which he just lost that spot, though, that would have put him up into that 12th spot. So that's how close everything is.
Look at Gordon. Man, he is all over Hamlin.
And these 2 cars, the left side of your screen, they have a bit of a history together. Right side of your screen, lead change. Jeff Gordon going by Denny Hamlin to retake the lead.
Boy, these 2 cars, the 24 and the 11, are really closely matched tonight.
Well, they've been watching right behind them. Mark Martin's been hanging closer this time, so he seems to be getting his car better and better, too, as these 2 guys battle for the lead. See Montoya able to take that spot away from Casey Kane.
And on the left side, it was the contact between the 9 and the 42 at Michigan that created some serious problems for Juan Pablo Montoya.
Yeah, and Casey Kane just came off of turn 4 completely sideways there. That allowed Clint Boyer to get by him. So looks like he's still fighting his car. Denny Hamlin still trying to come back to the inside. What a great battle we have for the lead here.
Don't you love short track racing on a Saturday night in Richmond, Virginia? You got to wonder, you don't have to wonder, I should say, why the drivers and the fans say this is one of their favorite racetracks. Both entities say they love coming here. The drivers love the race, and the fans love the action all the way around this track.
Yeah, we couldn't have a better scenario. Here comes Hamlin back to the inside before the race
he's leaving
get in the chase. And then have racing like this with 2 guys that are already in the chase just trying to collect some bonus points.
Mark Martin sitting back here just watching, said, I've been through this rodeo before here. I know exactly what you guys are going to do.
Yeah, the 2 up front don't have anything to lose. Mark, on the other hand, has a lot to lose. Now, you just keep these cars straight, boys.
That's right. Yeah, that's the main thing he's thinking. Y'all have fun racing, but don't get out of control.
We saw Denny Hamlin last night racing extremely hard for the lead, get up on the outside there and lose his car right in front of Kevin Harvick.
That's just part of that inside of him to want to do so well here at his home racetrack. Here he comes back again.
This was last night. You see how Hamlin just got completely out of shape coming off the corner. This was for the lead.
Yeah, he was wrecked till he ran into Kevin Harvick.
Denny Hamlin led 3 times for 101 laps, led the most laps last night, but because of that and having to come down pit road, finished a distant 17th in the NASCAR Nationwide Series race.
What a great battle these two are having right now, though. Hamlin just barely gets an edge, but then Gordon's able to come back on the outside. Dave?
And DJ, Denny's attitude is pretty much the same tonight as it was last night. Nothing to lose, going for the win. Remember, they came in here clinched in the chase, and Denny said that really frees me up, takes the pressure off. And in his words, it makes us a dangerous race team. I like that. Shannon?
Well, Dave, this 24 team knows how important those 10 extra bonus points going into the chase are. They've been very consistent over this season so far, but Steve Letarte said, hey, that's not going to be enough to win us a championship. You remember in 2007 when our average finish was 5.0 and we lost to Jimmy Johnson? We know that we need extra points. We need to get all the points that we can get, and we need to get them now.
Well, I also think, going back to Denny Hamlin, I probably inspired him the other night. I was talking to him and told him that I had him on my fantasy team, and I knew he would do well. So I'm sure that's a little extra for him to do well here, too.
But the fact that it's his home racetrack and he's always wanted to win here growing up had nothing to do with it.
No, absolutely not.
Well, Denny Hamlin is the leader, but the story thus far tonight has been the fact that Matt Kenseth has really struggled, and that bubble is changing. Back after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
A terrific fight for the lead at the Richmond International Raceway. Denny Hamlin in the 11, Jeff Gordon in the 24. Since the last restart, they've gone at it just like this.
Oh, yeah, side by side. That's what's so good about this particular racetrack here in Richmond, Virginia. The fastway is definitely around the bottom when you get here in practice, but as the race goes on, it rubbers up, man. That top groove comes in, and you see these guys dicing bottom, top, bottom, top. They've been doing it lap after lap, and I think just about every single race car driver that runs here loves this track because of that.
Yeah, these guys are putting on an outstanding show. Denny Hamlin obviously has a lot at stake here. This is his Daytona race, he told me. He wants to win this race worse than any other race. Well, we got a little caution.
Caution is out. I heard a big boom when that 78 car came down the front straightaway. That's usually not a good sign.
No, I tell you what, this is good for Matt Kenseth again, though. This guy was getting ready to get lapped again. I mean, he's been in trouble 3 times, Kenseth has, and these cautions keep saving him. So, I mean, this is good for Matt. He needs to work in this car. They're still out to lunch, but I really think if they focus Brad, they can get their act back together.
There's a lot of time left. We still have 196 laps to go. They surely can get back in this race. It just needs to get some work done.
Regan Smith in the 78 car was the place where that big boom emanated from. Riding right in front of here.
Oh, man.
Oh, man,
wow.
take a look at that. You know, I'm starting to wonder if these brakes are starting to be an issue, getting really hot, starting to overheat these right front corners, these brakes, and blowing these tires out. We heard that Greg Biffle was already complaining about that, and these guys got to watch that because we're halfway through this race right now, and that's when it starts rearing its ugly head.
Now, they only ran, 23 laps of green before this caution came out. So do they pit here? Do they stay on the racetrack? Andy Petrie, our championship crew chief, up in the booth. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking this part of the race, maybe come on down pit road and get 4 more. And here comes Jeff Gordon. Looks like he's going to lead the charge down. He's going to be the one to key off of.
And that kind of forced everybody else's hand when he did that.
Shannon.
Well, Jeff Gordon says that the car is very good in 1 and 2, still a little bit tight in 3 and 4. They're going to make a 4-tire change, and you see that wrench in the back window. That is a chassis adjustment for the 24. Vince?
The last changes the crew made to the 2-car, Kurt Busch liked. He said, let's get it to turn just a little better in the center. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment and going down on the right side track bar. Dave?
Denny Hamlin comes in snug in the center, but the exit was better. Another quarter turn on the left rear wedge bolt. Mark Martin during that run, he felt good, but a little bit too tight. Air pressure adjustment for the 5.
And another close race off that. Last time it was Gordon that got it done. And this time it was Hamlin. See the 4 tires, everyone taking 4 tires. Boyer up 4 spots, Harvick back and Hornish back each a spot. Kyle Busch up 2, and it is very close coming off pit road.
Man, it's as competitive off pit road as it has been on the track tonight. That was extremely close there. Hamlin just getting the spot, and here comes Mark Martin.
Remember, the speed limit is 40 miles an hour. They say gas it to that end line. If you get caught speeding, it can be very, very costly. Under caution for the 6th time out here at Richmond International Raceway. Leaders have been on and off pit road. Denny Hamlin now is back on the track as our leader. Let's visit with our in-race reporter, Casey Kane, who's running in the 17th position.
Hey, Casey, DJ, you have a copy?
Yeah.
Hey, buddy, looks like you're battling your car a little bit. Still okay chase-wise, but what are you battling with your car, and has the racetrack changed some?
I think the racetrack's changed since yesterday for sure. We're sliding, getting in and sliding off the corner and pushing the nose in the center, so it hasn't been very good yet. Not too happy about it right now, but we're working to try to get it out, get it a little bit better and salvage the finish here.
Okay, buddy. Good luck. Thanks for talking.
Andy, he's talking about what we've heard many times before about guys are saying they're loose in and loose off, but tight in the middle. As a crew chief, how would you work on that?
Well, I would fix the tight in the middle. Sometimes you can never fix that loose in the corner, but that tight in the middle can also cause the problem off the corner in the middle, because what happens is you got a lot of wheel in the car, you get on the gas, and then it just swings the back. So if they can fix that one part of the corner, I think it would help them a lot.
Let's look at our bubble drivers and see what happened on pit road. Looks like Kyle Busch may have won the battle between he and Brian Vickers and gained a couple of spots.
Yeah, you see right there, the drive time down pit road was 1.3 seconds on Kyle Busch over Vickers. And the total there you can see is how he gains. It's not just about the pit stop, even though the pit stop was a little bit of it.
No, but those also get Kyle Busch up there in that 12th spot.
Let's listen into the spotters as we go full throttle with the Gree V12. You're looking at the leader's telemetry there.
Still there. Clear. Corner. Still outside. Still there racing. Outside corner. Outside corner. Clear. Still there. Still there. In the lane. Inside corner. 2 cars on the inside. Clear. Quarter. Clear. Outside the corner. 43 door. Looking.
Wow, from 147 miles an hour on the front straightaway down to about 92 when he turns left coming out of turn 4. Denny Hamlin getting it done here. He has now led 6 times for 112 laps, and here's a good battle on the racetrack.
And there's battles all over the racetrack. I look back here. Matt Kenseth made it 3 wide, 2 laps in a row getting into turn 1. Now he is on the move and on the attack.
Well, he's got less than half the race to get the job done now. He's sitting outside that top 12, so he's got to make up some spots. They've been making a lot of changes on this car.
He's being shown now 22 points, make that now 15 points out of that transfer position, but so he is on the move. Jamie.
Stop before last. Matt Kenseth said this car is the worst it's been all night, so this last stop they put a rubber in the right rear, went up on the wedge, and put the air pressure back in, and the car's coming to life.
I tell you, Matt Kenseth came to life too, because he got very aggressive on that start.
Right in front of him, you see the 14 car of Tony Stewart, A.J. Allmendinger, the 44. They are racing for position. That's 21st and 22nd.
As far as Matt goes, he has to really be aggressive at this time. It looks like his car loses even more grip after the tires go away a little bit, so he's trying to make up as much as he can right now.
And the good news for Matt Kenseth is because neither the 18 or the 83 have led a lap, DJ, if he can gain a couple spots, he can put himself back into that top 12.
Yeah, he can still do that, and so you just have to keep racing. And the other thing that's on his side is there are still 28 cars on the lead lap right now.
2 car of Kurt Busch on the inside of Jimmy Johnson. That is for 4th position. Johnson had it. Busch takes it away.
And we're 3 wide back here with Tony Stewart and Joey Logano.
Matt Kenseth still part of that mix, too.
I tell you what, guys, if I was Matt Kenseth's spotter, I'd be up there politicking with the rest of these guys. Like, give me some help, man. I mean, we're in this chase. We're trying to get in this chase. You guys don't have a chance. Help me out here. And that's what he needs right now. He's talking to his crew chief, trying to get this thing handling better. He needs all the help he possibly can get. And Andy Dale, I got to believe, man, I'd be hollering on this radio, hey, throw me something. Help me, buddy.
Yeah, his problem is that he's talking to other car manufacturers who don't really care if he's having a problem trying to get in the chase. So
yeah, I'd be asking though. I mean, I understand his matchup stuff.
Doesn't hurt to ask. Yeah, you got to do something. Yeah, you got to ask. You never know, unless you do ask and find out. You got to try to get some help, but because we can see he's still struggling with this race car.
The drivers were told in the drivers meeting, no influence, no intervention by anybody outside the chase. In other words, don't be a factor, don't become a factor or a spoiler. But these guys aren't going to give anything away to the guys who are trying to get in either.
Yeah, David Hoot said just let the race develop naturally. Don't try to force anything or cause an outcome to change that you shouldn't. Just let the race occur naturally, and you see that's what's going on now. Matt Kenseth is just racing as hard as he can. It still doesn't hurt to ask a guy for a spot.
No, and the one thing that Matt Kenseth does have on his side that this could possibly happen later in the race is that Carl Edwards and Greg Biffle are up there in front of him. So if those 2 spots could mean something, we could see something like that happening.
See there, Kyle Busch has gained a couple positions. Now Kenseth is moving back up there, only 15 points back and only 10 behind Brian Vickers. The 18 car of Kyle Busch now being shown in 7th position. As we told you, he has not led a lap. Remember, here in May, he led 53 laps and won the race.
Like I say, he's having a decent night. I expected a little bit more out of this 18 car. Still a little bit more time to go, but I thought we'd see him up there leading laps tonight.
Yeah, we'll have to watch as this run goes on. It doesn't look like that any adjustments they might have made there has helped Kyle with his race car as far as on the fresh tires. But his car seemed to come to life last time, the more laps that we put on the tires.
I had lunch with the team today with this Kyle Busch team, and they were talking about how much they wanted to make this chase and how they wanted to use those wins and those bonus points, and they can't use them if they don't make it. So they just hate to see that go away on them.
Yeah, that's certainly the one thing. And if you look at the chase, and everybody has their own opinion about the chase, I think it's an exciting thing. But is that something we need to look at in the future with these drivers that win races? Should we expand that as long as they stay in that top 20 or 25 of the points? So that's a discussion that might be brought up later on.
There's Clint Boyer, the 33 car. Now, he's right now being shown 15th in the point standings. That's the good news. The bad news is he is officially out of chase contention for 2009. The driver who made it in the chase the last 2 years, in fact, last 2 years, all 3 of the RCR, Richard Childress racing cars, made it in the chase. And here in 2009, not a single one will be in the postseason. And right now, the only Joe Gibbs car in the chase is this one right here. And that is Denny Hamlin, our leader.
68 laps to go in tonight's Chevy Rock and Roll 400 Richmond International Raceway. The race to determine who gets into NASCAR's chase for the Sprint Cup. When the action is all over tonight, we'll know who's in and who's out, and we'll wrap it all up immediately following the race on ESPN2. It's NASCAR Now, the post-race edition. Hope you'll join us over there for that. Then our Monday Roundtable presented by the Home Depot. That's 5 Eastern on Monday, ESPN2. Next weekend, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series runs at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. That's on the Speed Channel at 2:30 Eastern next Saturday. And the chase begins for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at New Hampshire next Sunday afternoon. Our coverage starts with NASCAR Countdown at 1 Eastern time on ABC. So Denny Hamlin, the driver from Chesterfield, Virginia, who has had so much success at this Richmond racetrack, but not yet taken home a trophy from a Sprint Cup race here, is out in front of this race. It was just about a year and a half ago, that Denny Hamlin led almost every lap in this race. He led some 381 of 400. Had a flat tire and finished 24th. He's hoping for that trophy. He and Jeff Gordon, who've swapped the lead 8 times between them, have been sizing each other up, Dave Burns.
It's been great to watch, Alan, and of course the crew chiefs have been watching it as well. Listen to Mike Ford, Denny's crew chief, and then Steve Letarte, Jeff Gordon's crew chief, and the final word goes to the driver of the 24. Listen.
Oh, I mean, you guys are pretty even. I mean, he's talking about, he gets tight on the longer runs, but with you right up under him, he's getting loose. Talking about you're good off, so I think you guys just passed at different spots. Yeah, he's not great anywhere except the exit. He is unbelievable off. When he goes to the power, he makes it happen.
But the thing's rolling really good as well.
One other thing Denny Hamlin said was, and I'm having fun. I hope Jeff is too. F-U-N, Alan, that has been the word of the day for these two guys.
It's been fun to watch. Between laps 110 and 206, Rusty and Brad, these two guys swapped the lead 8 times between them.
Well, every now and then you get 2 cars that are pretty equally matched, and these 2 guys tonight have been spot on. I mean, they're just picking each other apart, and I really like watching them on the restarts of these races too, because one guy leads a lap, the other one passes, then they spread out a little bit, but look at them right there. They're still in our picture. They can't get away from each other.
Yeah, both of these cars have been just very dominant tonight. And it's interesting, as you look back through the field, you see Mark Martin, Kurt Busch, and Jimmy Johnson all just kind of staying put. Everyone's kind of spread out. There's a little racing going on in the back, but everyone's settled in. We got 161 laps to go.
Solid night tonight for Mark Martin. Started on the pole. He's running in 3rd position now, trying to lock in his place in the championship. And again, if you're new to NASCAR, the way that the points will be reset after tonight's race, the top 12 will be ranked basically in order of not just the way they finish in the points after tonight, but how many wins they have. So Mark Martin could go tonight from being on the verge of not making the championship to being the point leader when we go to New Hampshire next Sunday to begin the chase for the Sprint Cup.
It's incredible. Incredible. It makes it fun, though. The chase is great.
Let's head upstairs. Doc, DJ, and Andy. Here's a guy that a lot of folks would like to see be a very popular point leader to start the chase, huh?
What a great story this year. 50-year-old Mark Martin, who basically retired 2 years ago, had 2 part-time seasons, and Rick Hendrick talked him into coming out of retirement. And after 27 years of trying, he finished 2nd in the points 4 times. He had never won a championship. He came out and has had just a sensational year.
Not only would he become a sentimental favorite, but he would become literally one of the top contenders to win this championship. As consistent as he is, you put him in a 10-race format, he's awful good, Andy.
I talked to Carl Edwards about that very thing. I said, who do you think is the man to beat for this chase? I was speaking to Jimmy Johnson. He said actually he felt like Mark Martin was going to be the guy to beat, and I thought that was a big compliment coming from Carl Edwards.
Carl Edwards running back in 20th position. He came into the night 5th in the point standings, and right now he has lost 4 positions. He's back in 9th position. But again, the key, as Alan Bestwick said, if you just get in the top 12 and get in the chase, everything resets next week at New Hampshire. Vince.
Crew Chief Bob Osborne told me that when they were here in May and they ran 26th, he said, I had some kind of harebrained idea about the setup we were going to run, and it didn't work, and we found out pretty quickly it wasn't going to work. Going to the more traditional setup this weekend, well, that was a bit sketchy as well when he fell back to 31st early on. Moving up and running better now, although he says he's not getting it to turn in the center the way he'd like. They did take a half-pound out of the right front last stop, but Bob Osborne still doesn't quite have the car right where Carl wants it, but they're getting better.
Making progress. That's all you can ask for on the night, and still plenty of laps to go. 155 laps to go before the checkered flag's going to wave. Now, right in front of him, you see the 16 car up there. That is his teammate and chase contender, Greg Biffle, who's being shown in the 18th position. And Biffle came in 11th in points and has stayed right there, 11th right now, plus 56 away in points from the bubble. Here's the leading Rookie of the Year contender, Joey Logano, driving the 20 car. Now, this is the car that Tony Stewart vacated after moving to form his own team. And Joey getting a lot of experience on the short track. Yes, he is the driver that set the NASCAR record. in New Hampshire back in June, becoming the youngest winner in Cup Series history at the age of 19 years, 1 month, and 4 days.
Well, he's really shown a lot of progress throughout this year. See him trying to make a pass here on Casey Muir. He's really doing a good job getting to know these cars and racetracks and what this Sprint Cup racing is all about.
Up ahead of this group is the guy who got out of that 20 car, Tony Stewart, and he is slowly but surely inching his way toward the front, Andy.
Oh, man, he's made a nice recovery. He's gone from a lap down now to the top 15. He was involved in a little skirmish with Reed Sorensen earlier, and that's Reed right in front of Tony. Reed was able to stay on the lead lap, but Tony, like I said, he went down a lap, and they started coming back up through the field now. He's got a pretty fast car.
And Reed Sorensen's doing a nice job tonight right in front of Tony, as you pointed out. He's had a good, solid night other than that contact with Tony earlier on, but he's made a nice recovery from that. There's our in-race reporter, Casey Kane. You heard him tell us a little bit ago he was struggling with his car, but he's just going to try to make the most out of it and get the points and get into the chase and then try to have 10 good races.
77 on the move, Sam Hornick Jr. We told you about the great run he had here back in May. And he is up to 7th and trying to go around the 29 car to take the 6th spot away.
What a solid race he's having here. Caught Kevin Harvick and making that pass. Jamie?
Well, you guys are talking about Sam Hornick Jr. He won here 2 times in an Indy car, but he's really figuring out the Cup car. Finished 6th here in May, and he's just been comfortable and confident here tonight. He's moving his way up. He's pretty much happy with the car. It's just been a little bit tight, but guys, he's had 2 top 5s in the last 5 races, and that's the first time in his Cup career. Very impressive for Sam Hornick Jr.
Sam Hornick's the biggest mover, 27 spots since the start of the race.
What a job he has done talking about Sam Hornick with those top 5 finishes really coming on here. And this only his 2nd full year as a driver in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. We have less than 150 laps to go, and there have been 12 lead changes among 4 different drivers. And right now it is Denny Hamlin up front in the 11 car. The sentimental favorite, Mark Martin, being shown in 3rd spot. Jeff Gordon in 2nd, and Hamlin is our leader in 1st. Back in Richmond, the 11 car there, Denny Hamlin is the leader, and he's moving in on the 27th place car, Dale Earnhardt Jr., to try to put him a lap down. Time now to check out our Aflac trivia question. The question is, Richard Petty is the all-time wins leader here at Richmond International Raceway with 13. Who has the most wins on the 3/4 mile configuration? This track changed from a half mile to 3/4 in the fall of 1988.
I'm going to take a stab and say it was Rusty Wallace.
Well, you're exactly right. Our own RW, 6 wins here, buddy. You own this place.
Oh, y'all finally gave me a little loving, huh? I'm liking that part, man. Rather be lucky and good, right?
And here are some of those wins. Rusty Wallace, different sponsors, but the results were the same. 6 different times he was able to take that car to victory lane. And no matter how much the car got beat up, Rusty, this car ran it. That was one of your favorite cars there, that number 2 car, the black 2.
Yeah, well, Midnight, that was a great car. That thing really, we won 18 races with that car, and always loved that black and yellow paint scheme. It was always awful special to me, but anytime you win anything, hey, I don't care what color they are, you know?
A competitive short track, and Rusty Wallace by far double the number of wins anyone else active driver has right now. In fact, Tony Stewart, Dale Earnhardt, and Jimmy Johnson all have 3 wins, and Rusty, even though he's been retired, has 6.
And look at Matt Kenseth right ahead of Denny Hamlin. He's the next car to go down a lap.
Matt's been lucky a couple of times tonight as he was about to go down a lap. A car spun or something happened on the racetrack.
That's McMurray going down his 2nd lap. Look at this 3 wide back.
Oh, my goodness.
Vickers trying to get it done. He's got to make it happen.
And that pass puts him in 12th position now and just 2 points back. So that's a 2-point separation between the 83 and the 18, battling back and forth for that final transfer spot in the chase.
And here's Kyle Busch trying to get that 12th spot back. He's 2 points behind in the 13th. If he makes this pass, that puts him ahead of Brian Vickers.
Jimmy Johnson slipping back at this point.
Well, that's how close it is, and Kyle Busch trying to take the 7th spot on the racetrack away from Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, that'll give him a 2-point advantage if he's able to complete this pass. See, Jimmy Johnson's gotten extremely loose with his race car.
And Kyle Busch goes back in the 12th position by virtue of that pass.
Wow.
It's going to come down to the final lap here at Richmond tonight. After we talked about hold your breath night, it is going to be that close here in the final laps. Dave.
Kyle Busch's car not bad on this run, but he's trying to give crew chief Steve Addington some clues as to getting the car even better. During a 60-lap run from lap 112 to lap 172, the car was as good as it's been. And Kyle said, if we could get this car back to where it was 2 runs ago, we'll be good. Andy, can you keep track of all that data and pick up where you left off early in the race?
It's hard to do. I tell you, Kyle though is doing what he needs to do too. It's just going to be so close. They're going to scratch and claw at the end of this race to see who gets in. I'm sure glad I'm not on top of that box.
So you go forward with the setup, and you got to go back to two pit stops ago and see what you did and see how close you can get on the air pressures. I mean, that's going to be tough to do.
Yeah, the problem is the track's not the same as it was 2 runs ago.
So the drama building here at Richmond National Raceway. Just 131 laps to go to the checkered flag to determine who's going to get in the chase, who's going to win the race. Denny Hamlin's already in the chase. Would he hold on and win for the first time, and who will get in the chase? In the books of 400, Denny Hamlin the leader. We're probably 25 to 35 laps away from what could be the final pit stop of the night here at Richmond. On Thursday, September 24th, the whole world will black out at exactly the same time. Everyone will see a flash of their own future, and mankind will take on the greatest mystery it's ever faced. ABC's Flash Forward new series premiere Thursday, September 24th at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 7 Central on ABC. Denny Hamlin would like to flash forward and run this well throughout the chase and maybe get a championship up. He finished 3rd as his best finish as a rookie 3 years ago in the chase.
Well, my talks with him the other day, he seems very confident that his race team is ready to do that in the chase. He wanted to get these 10 bonus points tonight. That's what he talked about, to get himself seated higher in the chase. And then he felt like that they were one of the teams to certainly beat.
Yeah, look at Stewart now. He's
trouble on the front stretch.
He got the one car
in the wall.
He stayed green. Truex, well, now the caution will come out as he bounced it off the wall. He came underneath the flagman when he hit. And now the caution has come out for debris off that car.
Yeah, his car went just to the right. I'm not sure if he didn't blow that tire before he hit the wall, or if he had gotten loose and then overcorrected it in. I just saw him as he was headed towards the wall.
See, the right front tire is down.
I have to believe that that's what happened as he came out of turn 4.
Yeah, this straightaway really is a corner itself. I mean, it's, I know it's called front stretch, but it has a lot of bend to it. So if you blow a tire on this front stretch, you're going to hit something.
They call it the front stretch and not front straightaway, right? So.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens too, Dale. He lost that right front.
Running at 17th spot at the time, and a tough break for last week's pole sitter. He dominated the race early on at Atlanta, fell back and missed the top 20 in a finish there, and now has a good run here, and it goes away with a cut right front tire.
Pit stops are coming up. Tony Stewart had driven all the way up to 11th spot on that run, so he's a nice recovery for him.
Okay, Mr. Crew Chief, with your calculator, we're about 120 laps away. The fuel window is 110, right at 110 plus.
That's about 10 laps outside of a normal pit window, and I don't expect it to go green the rest of the way anyway.
Second time tonight, the 7 car of David Gilliland getting the free pass. He'll be able to get back on the lead lap.
Yeah, one car that won't get the free pass is Matt Kenseth. He'll remain 1 lap down. He's in 25th spot.
So you think we got more cautions coming, huh? I'm sure Alan Bestwick's down there probably calling Ray Evernham, seeing what's going to happen here later on.
How many more we got coming, Alan?
Let's see. 6 of the last 9 races at Richmond. There's been a caution with less than 40 to go. Probably can count on one.
You get hold of Ray Evernham, he'll tell you exactly which lap it's going to be.
Right. I had that one looked up myself.
Did you?
Yeah.
Good job. Good job.
Now, we joke about the fact that Ray Evernham specifically called the lap last week in Atlanta.
Oh, he got lucky.
When that late caution flag was going to come out. Okay, the pits are going to be open, and Denny Hamlin will lead him down pit road here. Shannon.
Jeff Gordon does not like the adjustments they made on the last pit stop, so they are going to go back on those adjustments. Track bar adjustment and wedge for the 24-4 tires. Vince.
The two-car of Kurt Busch coming off their worst finish of the season last week in Atlanta. Their crew chief this week, Pat Tryson, said that he's going to be leaving the team at the end of the season, but boy, has the two bounced back. They are running strong. No changes on the car during this stop. Kurt likes it. Dave?
Leader Denny Hamlin, loose but good, exceptional drive off, air reduction in the rear tires just to keep up with the track. Mark Martin, meantime, running in 4th position. No changes to his race car at this point for Martin.
This time it's not that close. Denny Hamlin able to beat Jeff Gordon off pit road by about 15 feet. Boyer up a spot. Jimmy Johnson up 2 spots. Montoya and Vickers gaining positions. Hornish back. And by the way, the one car of Martin Truex Jr. has gone to the garage.
Hit it!
Are you ready for some football? Do you want to drink? Do you want to party? All my rowdy friends coming over tonight.
My favorite NFL team is the Carolina Panthers. I love John Fox, our coach. Jake Delhomme, he's one of my favorites.
I like the Miami Dolphins growing up because they had cool colored uniforms.
Seattle Seahawks, because I grew up in Seattle going to games with my parents. I'm excited. They got a great draft pick this year, so they'll be turning things around.
The Green Bay Packers. I'm from Wisconsin, and I've always been a big Packer fan.
Ooh, that makes me get ready for some football. I like Monday Night Football.
Well, we've got Monday Night Football coming your way, guys. A doubleheader coming up featuring 2 divisional rivals. First, 7 Eastern time. T.O. and the Buffalo Bills head to Foxborough to take on the New England Patriots, led by quarterback Tom Brady. Then at 10:15 Eastern time, LaDainian Tomlinson, a healthy LT, and the Chargers face Darren McFadden and the Oakland Raiders. Well, let's check into the radio on the 17 car of Matt Kenseth. Let's go down to Jamie Little first.
Well, they've adjusted and adjusted on this 17 car, and it's gotten nothing but worse. This was Matt on the radio moments ago.
We're so screwed. Hey, Drew, you need to make a note, you and Chip both, which we should have known better to start with, but that most of the reason isn't because of how Michael's stopping, it's because of that stupid pit stall you got there. The corner goes out, you know, we're in the first part of the corner, and the corner goes out, so where he parks, he's right on his mark. The problem is that pit stall, the outside edge, because we're going around a corner, is 4 feet farther out than ours. I can't get back out around him. Need to not pick in that part of the corner again if we can help it.
And that's interesting because last year, something I learned about Matt Kenseth, his worst fear is missing his pit box because of the location. We saw that happen tonight. Usually he picks the first pit box in, but because they qualified so poorly, this is the spot they got tonight. What a heartbreaking night for them, Doc. It's just not getting any better.
They certainly have had their troubles on pit road tonight. Had trouble getting out of the pits. They've had trouble getting into his pits. Let's watch the left rear tire change.
Okay, they're making some changes on the right side, on the right rear, so the tire changer came around and knocked the nuts off the lug nuts off the left rear and the left front. So that when they came around, they would be able to change it quicker. They were just making some changes, a lot of changes on the car to try to get it better.
Left front guy had to do a double duty there, getting the lug nuts off.
Well, that was a planned deal.
Restart here, 114 laps to go. Jeff Gordon is the leader, but Denny Hamlin won't come by. It's Hamlin the leader, Jeff Gordon in second spot, Kurt Busch, Boyer, and Mark Martin the top 5.
These guys that are trying to stay inside the chase here, they're really hoping things kind of get single file here before long. These restarts are the most dangerous time for them.
Does single out up front, but it always seems like it stays double file back through the pack for quite a while after these restarts.
A good pit stop by the 83 bunch for Brian Vickers, got him off of pit road, and now Vickers trying to move up and get into the top 10, and he needs every single point he can get.
And Tony Stewart lost 8 spots on pit road. I don't know what happened to him, but he made a nice run up through there, but gave him away on pit road.
That move right there, the pass by Vickers to go by Harvick and get 10th on the racetrack, puts him 12th in the point standing. So if the race would end right now, he would be in the chase.
Well, with Matt Kenseth having so much problems tonight, as long as that 83 car can see the back bumper of that 18, he's in.
But these guys got to think just one little slip. You see Montoya trying to take the spot away from Sam Hornish there. Just one little slip could mean the difference between these two guys now. Looks like it's between the 18 and the 83. One slip could mean the difference of whether they race for a championship or not.
See Montoya there, the 42, battling the 77. That's 8th to 9th position. There's the 18 of Kyle Busch behind the 48. He's up in 7th spot, but he's still 5 points out of the transfer position.
Yeah, and I don't think either one of these guys thought that coming in here and running 7th and 10th would have been good enough to get them into the chase. But that's the opportunity that's presenting itself tonight. Now they have to take advantage of that.
Last time we were on a short track 2 weeks ago in Bristol, Tennessee, that 18 car very methodically worked his way up and really didn't become a factor at the front of the field until about 60 laps to go. Of course, in the last 40 laps, we had a lot of shuffling and pushing and shoving that totally changed the complexion. So anything can happen on the short track in the final 100 laps.
Well, right behind Kyle Busch, Brian Vickers has made another spot. He's moved up to 9th now.
And we're getting into that last 100 laps of this race, and that's when the pressure's really going to come up.
And we still do have 22 cars on the lead lap, so any problems by either one of those guys could mean a big difference for them.
One of the cars that was on the lead lap, or it was off the lead lap, got back on and moved up into the top 10, is now being shown back in 18th position, is the 14 car there of Tony Stewart. Let's update his situation, Dave.
Yeah, Doc, you guys were wondering out loud what happened on that pit stop. If you'd been watching closely, you would have seen them drop a lug nut on the left rear, pick it up, and put it back on, but it cost time. I watched them do the replay on the back of their pit box, and that's what I saw.
It cost him 8 spots because he came in 11th and came out 19th.
Yeah, and as solid as that race team had been for probably the first 22 or 23 races, getting themselves in that #1 position, they really struggled here the last 3 races, and that's really not the way they want to go into New Hampshire.
Yeah, they win the race at Watkins Glen, and then as you said, the last 3, they don't even get a top 10 finish. They had trouble. That finished 11 laps down at Bristol, Tennessee in 33rd position.
But the good thing is they were really good in those first 23 races, got themselves in a nice spot, and they'll regroup and battle for a championship.
Battle waging there for 6th spot. Jimmy Johnson, who's comfortably in the chase, trying to hold off the advance of Kyle Busch, and Kyle needs to pass some more cars to get a chance to get in there. And Jimmy's the first one he's come to.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be able to make that pass. The handling on Jimmy Johnson's car has gone away, and Kyle Busch does take that spot away from him.
And Kyle's got to get another spot, though, because he's still outside the chase, even in that position.
Yeah, and Brian Vickers makes up another spot right behind him and passing Juan Pablo Montoya. So really, Kyle Busch didn't gain anything right there by making that pass.
Sort of monkey see, monkey do back there with the bubble contenders. Denny Hamlin is our leader. It'll be 100 laps to go. You're watching ESPN on ABC. Hamlin has led over 200 laps tonight. Here are the current standings for the AT&T Fastest Pit Crew of the Year. Now, points are accumulated by the team who wins the race by fan votes and by an ESPN pick. You see Dale Earnhardt Jr. right now atop the standings. Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, and Matt Kenseth. Make your pick for the AT&T Fastest Pit Crew of the Year by texting the car number for the pit crew you think is fastest and most valuable in each race to 2258. Standard messaging rates do apply. Dale Earnhardt Jr., by the way, being shown a lap down back in 25th position.
Look at this race right here. You see Stewart now hung up behind these cars after having that bad pit stop, trying to make something happen. Kind of forces his way underneath Jeff Burton.
And Joey Logano. Make something happen. It might not be exactly what he was looking for, but something's going to happen.
That's Carl Edwards in 15th position, and these guys right on behind him, 16th, 17th, and 18th.
See how hard those spots are to make up on the track. really kills you when you lose them on pit road, especially when you lose 8 at one time.
And these two guys have had several incidents throughout the year bouncing off each other. This team seemed to be able to race together week after week. We're talking about Casey Kane and looking back at Juan Pablo Montoya.
That's for 12th and 13th spot.
Vince?
Juan Pablo Montoya says the car's been a little bit worse this run. They need to do a little bit with it to make it workable. He's really had a pretty solid car throughout most of the day, but says this one is loose getting in. You know, they finished third at Atlanta last week, and crew chief Brian Patty told me today they really felt like those 24 points that they gained on the field with that third place finish in Atlanta gave them the necessary comfort here this week that they could take this race a little bit more conservatively and be comfortable with it. So far, so good for Juan Pablo and the 42 team.
Doing exactly what Juan Pablo Montoya has to do, and that's keep this car in contention and try to get a top 15 finish. Right now he's being shown in 13th position. Denny Hamlin the leader, Jeff Gordon being shown in second position in the 24 car, and back in third spot is the 2 car of Kurt Busch, who had the big disappointment last week at Atlanta, and maybe another disappointment this week when it was announced yesterday that his crew chief Pat Tryson would not be back at the end of the year. And Kurt says, okay, it's Pat's decision to leave, but now we're entering the chase, and he thinks that could be a huge distraction for this team.
It will be. I mean, that'll be a huge distraction because you make a big change at the top like that. I mean, you know, I guess there's a time to do it and a time not to, but this is really a pretty tough time to be making that move.
Yeah, it's kind of bad 4 or 5 days there for Kurt Busch. He looked like he was going to try to wrap up a spot in the chase at Atlanta, had an accident there, then his crew chief announces he's going to be leaving at the end of the year. So kind of a stressful time. They'll do the most to try to make it work.
Another car doing very well tonight. Now out of the chase this year, but a very good run by this 33 car and a comeback somewhat tonight here for Clint Boyer.
He started off pretty far back. He was racing Matt Kenseth real early in the race, and then he just starts moving up. Been methodically moving up all night. Now he's in the top 5 and still going forward.
Yeah, this team started off really well with a whole new kind of, I mean, it was a new team that Richard Childress started. Clint Boyer working with new people. They started off the season really well. Got into a little bit of a slump for a while, but they've had some really good runs as of late.
Clint's last win came at this racetrack 51 races ago back in May of 2008.
Man, look at this.
Yeah, they've been running into each other quite a few laps. As watching, Jeff Burton wasn't too happy, I don't think, with David Strim. You saw him give him a little bump in the rear bumper.
He's got a problem.
I think he might have a left rear tire.
Yeah, definitely has a left rear down.
I think that's why he wasn't happy. I think maybe the 12 car got into the left rear and cut that down with the splitter.
So Jeff Burton had moved all the way up in the 16th position, and now will have to come on pit road.
Yeah, if he can make it back to pit road. See the replay right here, Strimmy and the 31. And Jeff Burton racing side by side. They just barely touch. That's enough sometimes to knock that, either the valve stem or cut that left rear tire. And caution's out now because of that debris of that flat tire on Jeff Burton's car.
Well, that's going to make decisions easier from a couple of guys' standpoint. The 18 and the 83, who probably were going to be close on fuel, and a lot of people were going to be close if they could even think about making it, but certainly going to be able to make it.
Not going to worry about it now.
Well, what actually happened on that left rear tire there for Jeff Burton? Let's go down to our Craftsman Tech Garage and Tim Brewer.
Jerry, the exhaust pipe's set right here on the cars, and when the guys get to beating and banging, as long as the area is touched away from those tailpipes, that's fine. But when that tire gets right there, you can see the pipes touch the tire, and that's what will cut down the sidewall of the tire.
Perfect explanation, Tim, and shows you that Jeff Burton, who had worked so hard to get all the way up to 15th and now had to come on pit road. I guess the break he got was the fact that the caution came out for debris on that tire.
And the pit road is closed this time by. We expect it'll be open the next lap.
.81 laps to go here at Richmond. They'll make it 80 this time by. Denny Hamlin has led the bulk of the laps tonight. He's led 7 times for 218 laps. Got to wonder what he's thinking about, because we talked about the fact that in 2 of the last 3 races here that he has run, he has dominated to lead the most laps, only to have a problem either on pit road with a lug nut or cutting a tire in the final laps cost him a chance at victory. Once it was the final pit stop, which this may be.
Yeah, he's not thinking about that. Yeah,
No.
you put that out of your mind, and you just have to go on. And he's got a great race car. He's thinking about doing all the right things. Right now, he's thinking about not making a mistake here on pit road, getting in his box, and continuing to have that lead.
31 will get the free pass because debris brought the caution out, not him, and so Jeff Burton will get back on the lead lap. Here come the leaders down pit road. Shannon.
Jeff Gordon says we still have some work to do on this car if we want to win this race. It's going to be 4 tires air pressure for Jeff Gordon in this 24 car. Vince.
The 2 car of Kurt Busch comes in running 3rd, and he likes it. He says it's a little snug in the center, but it's pretty good off. He said it's just about time to go racing, and I like it. Dave?
Leader stop bottom of the screen for the first time tonight. No changes to Denny Hamlin's car. He calls it pretty good. Here's Mark Martin. He does want changes. Air and wedge on his car. Very tight this last run. It wouldn't turn. Let's see if Hamlin's crew did the job. They did. He's going to leave pit road first again.
Look here, the 83 beats the 18 out of the pits.
But that was a big pass right there.
3 positions up, as you noticed, DJ, Brian Vickers, and that could be a big change right there in terms of running positions and points on the racetrack. Under caution, back after this message and a word from our ABC station. Back for the restart here, the Chevy Rock and Roll 400 at Richmond International Raceway. 75 laps to go. Denny Hamlin, the leader. Jeff Gordon is there. And Clint Boyer trying to look to the inside of that 11 car.
Oh, contact. Jeff Gordon gets the worst of that.
Now he tries to get back, and he is right beside the 83 car of Brian Vickers.
And Kyle Busch made the move on Vickers during all that.
Yeah, that's a big pass right there for Kyle Busch, and he's looking for more as he tries to go under his brother, Kurt Busch.
Kyle Busch has got to gain some positions here in the final laps, and the caution is
got a
back
car
out
down
again.
in the grass here, Michael Waltrip. There'll be some cleanup here.
I don't know if it needed mowing, but he did.
He sure did.
Didn't hit anything, Gene.
Grass coming out of the front of that car all over the racetrack as he has brought out caution now for the 9th time tonight.
That's just a hold your breath situation on these restarts, especially down in that turn 1 the first time.
Well, Boyer made a big move and looked like he was going to take Jeff Gordon out.
Get the nose cleaned out.
Might want to address the turf they got stuck in the front of that car.
Yeah, they need to hold that car till they get all that off of there before he drags it on the track.
Now let's address what happened on the restart here. First, on the restart, Denny Hamlin, the leader. Jeff Gordon is there, and Clint Boyer trying to make a move.
Yeah, Gordon gets a great start, too. I mean, he's pretty even with Hamlin when they come across the line. You see right there. Looked like Boyer maybe even locked the wheels up.
Yeah, it looked like he did because he was trying to stay off of Denny Hamlin right there. He was up beside him. He got a great restart. It ended up costing Jeff Gordon.
Gordon went from 2nd back to 6th position. He is behind Kyle Busch and in front of Brian Vickers.
As we talk this scenario right now with where those 2 drivers, the 18 and the 83, are at, that puts Brian Vickers in that 12th spot, but only by 8 points.
And what that means is, Andy, that 18 car is going to have to go like the wind here in these final 72 laps. Kyle Busch has got to get up there and lead a lap, pass as many cars as he can pass, and hope that Vickers can't follow him through traffic.
I guarantee you that 18 is going to be digging on this restart. There's 72 laps to go. Whole season on the line.
Yeah, and he may not have to lead. I mean, he has to go as hard as he possibly can. You know, his thing is needs to kind of hold everything right here and hope that Vickers might lose a spot or two to some fast cars behind him, who are Kevin Harvick and Jimmy Johnson and Sam Hornish.
The free pass will go to the 88 car, Dale Earnhardt Jr. He will get back on the lead lap. He is the first car a lap down. He gets the lucky dog pass and now gives us 23 cars on the lead lap. Back with a green flag in a moment. Richmond International Raceway, the scene of the Chevy Rock and Roll 400 here, as we have just 69 laps remaining. We are under caution for the 9th time tonight, an incident down in turns 1 and 2 involving the 2nd and 3rd place cars. Let's show you how it all unfolded down there on the restart. Denny Hamlin led him down there. Jeff Gordon was running 2nd, and the 33 car of Clint Boyer was trying to make a move.
Trying to make something happen. He dives down hard under Denny Hamlin. I don't think Denny saw him. And you see 33 lock up the brakes and get into Jeff Gordon.
DJ, Jeff Gordon wasn't happy after this happened.
No, you could see after the caution was thrown, everybody's slowing down. He wanted to come up and let Clint Boyer know about it.
I didn't mean to do that. The 11 chopped down on me. I had no choice.
Yeah, 10-4. Dangerous right there. That could kill somebody.
I've seen him do that many times. Just get up there and win the race. That's all you got to do.
Well, that about chopping down on him. He had the lead, but
yeah, Richard Childress there at the end. He's liking what he sees, that 33 up front.
Clint Boyer has not won this year. It's been 51 races since he went to victory lane, and the last time he did it was right here in May of 2008, so he is hungry to get up there. Denny Hamlin the leader, Boyer trying to hang on the outside, and now Martin battling for 2nd position.
Denny was going to make sure on that restart nobody had that opportunity again. Got a nice jump off as they came to the green flag.
Kyle Busch is moved by his brother Kurt Busch to take a spot away. Now Kyle up to 4th position. .07 being black flag for a pass-through penalty. Casey Mears did not let the lead lap cars get in line. And now the 18 car trying to take the 3rd spot away on the outside of Clint Boyer.
Like Kyle Busch might have found it's time to go.
I told you he'd be digging.
You're right about that. You realize time's running out. 65 laps to go.
And it's not just running out in this race. It's running out on his season if he doesn't make some moves here.
And if Kyle Busch can make this pass, he'll put himself, or could possibly put himself back in 12th position. Here's the bad news for Kyle Busch. See the 83 car back there? He's making passes too.
Yeah, he's coming right with him. Yeah, Kyle said, come on, brother, give me a break here.
Yeah, not only did he not make the pass on the 33, he got passed by his brother. So that drops him, 2 spots back. That's 10 points that he was looking at right there.
So a lap and a half ago, Kyle Busch was trying to make a pass to put himself in 12th, and now he finds himself 12 points back.
See right behind there, Jeff Gordon's gotten back in this. He really hadn't found himself back in a position like this for most of the race, so he's struggling a little bit on that outside. There's the 07 joining the race back. As Doc pointed out, he had to make that pass-through penalty.
So Hamlin the leader, about 0.6 of a second margin over Mark Martin in 2nd. There's the margin. You see Boyer back to the 33 car is 3rd. Kurt Busch now beginning to move back in on the 33. Boyer for 4th.
Ron Vickers trying to pass Kyle Busch.
And they are battling for 5th spot.
As long as he's in front of him, Vickers knows that he'll be in this right now.
But if there's contact and one of these guys doesn't finish, the other one's going to get in the chase.
But how impressive is this Brian Vickers and this race team for what they've been able to do here recently and here tonight? This has by far not been one of Brian Vickers' best racetracks, but they're getting the job done on pit road and the racetrack.
It's a team that's really stepped it up when they needed to. Vince?
You got that right, boy. Not only passing cars on the track, but doing it in pit lane. They picked up 5 spots in the last 2 pit stops on pit road. 24th or worse in Brian Vickers' 8 of the last 9 trips here to Richmond. As you said, this is not a track he's had much success, but boy, they have had a great run tonight, and so far they've got themselves in the chase. Dave?
Kyle Busch under pressure now from Jeff Gordon, shouted no side bite as he got passed by the 83. And we talked earlier about Mark Martin wanting to hear all the scenarios. Steve Eddington told me, I don't tell Kyle any of that. He says, I can't help it if they pass you or if we pass them. Let's not keep track of the math. Well, right now, the math is going in the wrong direction for Kyle.
And you talked about how the 83 team was getting it done on pit road, and they have stepped it up as well. Brian Vickers' bunch having to get it done, and look what they did. They gained him 3 spots.
12.9. That's getting it done down there, guys. See there, everybody doing their job. Right side especially. 5.6 seconds on the right. That's real fast.
Kyle Busch trying to hold on to position. You guys talking about Vickers a moment ago about this is not a good racetrack for him. His average finish here is 28th.
Well, he's going to help that tonight.
Yeah, but as I say, that's why we play the games and run the races. Gives you another chance. Each time you come here, gives you another opportunity to put that to rest. So stepping up big. I'm sorry, Doc, but it's talking about stepping up big. You know, not only is Denny Hamlin, but Brian Vickers stepping up whenever Brad Daugherty talked about that. The big guy stepping up when you had pressure on him.
You get the pressure, the great athletes step up and get it done.
And Mark Martin right here is closing in, trying to keep that gap close between Denny Hamlin and himself.
And the 2-car, Kurt Busch, said it's time to go, and now he's starting to move up and move in. It is Kurt Busch in 3rd spot, Mark Martin in 2nd, and they're all chasing the local boy, Denny Hamlin, who's our leader.
Down to the final 50 laps tonight here at Richmond. And don't forget, after our ABC coverage, it is NASCAR Now, the post-race wrap-up. More coverage on who makes it and who doesn't in the chase for the Sprint Cup. That's on ESPN2 after our ABC coverage. Our NASCAR Now Monday Roundtable presented by the Home Depot on ESPN2 at 5 Eastern Time on Monday. Then it's on to New Hampshire. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series runs on Saturday, 2:30 Eastern. That is on Speed. And the chase begins with the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race from New Hampshire, 1 Eastern next Sunday on ABC. Now down to the final 50 laps, and a lot tonight we have talked about Matt Kenseth's struggles and the solid performances of Brian Vickers and Kyle Busch as they basically run head-to-head for a place in the chase. But just remember this, as Vickers and Kyle Busch are running so well, Kurt Busch, Mark Martin, Casey Kane, all those guys you see in front of them are still not safe. Something as simple as a flat tire could change that picture, take one of those guys out of the chase and put somebody else back in. Rusty Wallace, you've been in this spot before behind the wheel. So these guys like Martin and the others in Hamlin, you know, have they just forgotten about it by this point in the race, or is it still on their mind?
Oh, no, they're agonizing over this, Alan. They really are. I mean, they are driving smart. They're getting a lot of information from the crew chiefs. They know they still got time to mess up, and they do not want to do that. This thing is not over yet. Just like you said, I totally agree with you. Man, a flat tire, a miscue, these guys are out of it. It's not over till it's over.
Perfect venue for this race, simply because, as we said at the beginning of our show, it will go on all night long. It will be 400 laps before we have to be able to decide who's in and who's out. The pressure stays on throughout this entire race.
Ryan Newman in that 39, one of the guys that pressure is on. Ryan Newman right now just lost a spot to his boss Tony Stewart, the 14 car going by and picking up 11th. And again, Newman, one of the bubble guys. For now, he's okay, but he still can't afford a slip in the final 45 laps of this race. Will we see another round of pit stops? Will we see some more caution flags? All kinds of things still to figure out here in the final miles of this one.
And the big question mark up here, guys, what happens in the final 40 laps? Typically in short track racing, you start to see things get a little more aggressive. We saw it at Bristol, and it can really shuffle things up. And as Alan Beswick mentioned, even the guys that are running well up there are not safely in the chase right now.
Yeah, a late race caution could really tighten things up. And like I say, that aggressiveness and intensity level really rises in that case.
Yeah, with 23 cars still on the lead lap, a lot of things can happen here.
Let's update Denny Hamlin. Dave.
Well, Doc, you talked earlier how Denny's going to erase the demons if he wins tonight of leading here but not winning at his home track. More importantly, Mike Ford told me this week that we have got to use our successes at Richmond as a springboard to the chase. For the last 2 years we've been in, but we haven't run well at the beginning of the chase, and it has cost us. Springboard was the word he used, and a W here tonight will take him a long way towards starting that chase outright.
Mike Ford is a very smart guy, and remember, the driver who won this race the last 2 years was that guy, Jimmy Johnson. He used this win as a springboard to go on and win the championship. Now he's trying to hold off the 18 of Kyle Busch for 7th position.
He's trying to get 4 points back of what he's back right now, but he's 30 points behind.
Brian Vickers in the driver's seat right now in the top 5. Really not much Kyle Busch can do right now. I mean, this spot right here helps, but it doesn't put him in.
Yeah, he has to either hope that there's a late race caution and they can do a good job on pit road and make this race car better, or his only hope otherwise is for something to happen to Brian Vickers in the 83. But Brian's been very solid all night long.
Typically at Richmond, there are caution flags in the final 50 laps, so we'll wait and see what will happen here. They don't need the caution flag for fuel, but everyone would take advantage of getting 4 fresh Goodyears, and I'm sure they'd take a bit of a swing on the 18 car on making a final adjustment.
I'm glad I got my list set of tires at the end of the race. This is good. Real good, real good.
Being a little sarcastic right there. I think he's not happy with this set.
Well, they certainly didn't start off the way that he wanted. Whoa, Jimmy Johnson sideways there off of turn 2. But maybe Kyle's car is starting to come to him a little bit better right now.
Kyle Busch has won 4 races this year. 3 of those 4 have come on the short tracks. He needs to do something to get up to where these guys are to have a shot to get in that chase here tonight.
Raceway in the final 32 laps of tonight's Chevy Rock and Roll 400. There's your leader, Denny Hamlin. A race that started about 30 minutes late due to a little brief rain shower. Right now moving into its final stages with Hamlin out in front of Mark Martin by a 2nd and 1/10. Story of the night, Matt Kenseth struggles, and Brian Vickers driving himself now up into the top 5. He took 4th position away from Clint Boyer a couple minutes ago. Rusty, this is a guy a lot of people think of as a speedway specialist.
Yeah, I mean, I would say he's probably got one of the best mile-and-a-half programs of any team out there. He did win Michigan this year, but people, when they look at short tracks, the stats just don't show that he's been good on these short tracks. But I'll remind everybody, Brian won many, many short track races. All those short track wins is what got him in the NASCAR. All those half-mile racetracks around America, he won a lot of those things, so he's got some short track credentials.
Yeah, he's got some clear track in front of him too, guys, as he's trying to run down and catch up with Kurt Busch, but he's been consistently faster than the leader. If he can make up a little bit more distance and can close up that gap, we could see him race for a victory tonight.
So Vickers right now running in 4th position. As we drop back to look for some side-by-side action here, that's Kevin Harvick in 29, Jimmy Johnson in 48, racing for 8th and 9th spots. Johnson sliding back. Let's not forget, Johnson pursuing a 4th consecutive Sprint Cup title. He'll be one of the 12 drivers competing for the championship when it kicks off next Sunday up at New Hampshire. But for now, Jimmy's slipping back a little bit at this point in the race.
Yeah, he's just falling back just a little bit. Just like you said, though, he will be a threat for this championship. He's, for whatever reason, Brad, this team is always a second-half team. And, boy, when they get to New Hampshire, that's when they set it on fire, and it's been that way 3 years in a row now.
Yeah, it's a good solid foundation with Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson and the rest of this team. They do a great job of peaking at the right time, Doc. What do you think?
They certainly do, guys. And Jimmy Johnson, the last 3 years, 3 consecutive titles. And last year they had a bit of a lull here in July and August, and they came roaring out of the gates in the chase and did it again, and tying Kel Yarber, becoming only the 2nd driver in NASCAR to win 3 consecutive titles.
And our leader is in heavy traffic right now.
Slicing and dicing through it, though. It looks like he's taking some chances, but his car's just so good that he's making it look easy.
Yeah, I thought Mark Martin might be able to close some ground on Denny Hamlin when Denny got in this traffic. But Denny is able, like you said, take a lot of chances in passing these lap cars.
The last 7 times Denny Hamlin has led the most laps in a race, he's only won once. He's got 25 laps to do it. Back into this message and a word from our ABC station. The 09 of Brad Keselowski headed to the garage area. He's had an engine come apart, and that has brought out caution now for the 10th time tonight with less than 20 laps to go. There's
Right
Brad
here.
Keselowski.
Down into turn 1. About the place you start to let off, and that's usually when something happens.
I've been seeing a little bit of smoke out of that 09, but the leaders are on pit road. It's going to be gut check time for these pit crews, Vince.
The 83 of Brian Vickers. What a night it has been, and they are coming in, and the car is great. What a perfect time for your car to be great, huh? On the last stop of the night, 4 tires, no changes. That's it for Brian Vickers. He's trying to make it to the finish and make the chase. Dave.
Kyle Busch runs 3 positions behind Vickers at this pit stop. He said, make my car as fast as you can make it. But what he really wants him to do is take the changes back out that they put on the last time. Wedge and air pressure adjustment for Kyle. Here he comes off pit road, and he'll go out in front of Vickers.
Wow, what a great job by the Kyle Busch crew, and a very deliberate stop on the 83.
Man, I knew that was going to be gut check time for that 83 team. They've done such a great job all night long.
Yeah, a little double on the right front that time.
That was a pressure stop for the 83.
And the question is, did they make those changes on the 18 back and get him where he wanted to be?
Got a tire rolling down pit road.
That'll call somebody. That's NASCAR. We'll find out whose it is.
Yeah, it'll roll down here and an official will grab it and it'll have a number stamped on the wheel. Oh, man.
Oh, my goodness.
Guy's down right there on Rudimann's team.
David Rudimann's team there. Guy getting upended as Tony Stewart was pulling out. He was trying to get the tire away.
There likely won't be a penalty on that one because that was contact.
Like enough of a penalty right
there.
Yeah,
that was a plenty of penalty there.
Goodness.
Now you know why NASCAR has mandated those helmets. Until about 7 or 8 years ago, they didn't really wear helmets. They weren't mandatory for those guys over the pit wall. And fortunately, they are now.
See the crew member from Tony Stewart's team over there making sure everybody's okay.
It looked like Denny Hamlin was going to coast away with 20 laps to go. He was pulled away by about a half a second over Mark Martin, and suddenly the caution comes out. They have all been on pit road and made some adjustments, taking the final swing at these cars in the 83 and the 18. And now there's going to be a shootout to see who can do what and maybe get in this chase.
Yeah, Matt Kenseth is a car that's kind of rolling the dice a little bit here. He's going to stay out and on these tires and try to get the wave around in front of there. So it's going to put him back on the lead lap.
Got nothing to lose.
Yeah, nothing to lose here.
He's
if he
gambling.
happens to get a quick caution, then he could make something happen.
Just gambling on a quick caution. Otherwise, he's just going to be trapped a lap down. See the comparison to these two pit crews. Kyle Busch's team now is the winner of this battle. That 15-second stop cost him 3 spots. Brian Vickers. Crucial stop for the 18 too, and they made it happen.
Let's get an update on the injured crew member, Dave.
Yeah, it was Dwayne Moore. He's the rear tire carrier, and he's okay, Doc. Good news.
That is certainly good news. He's up and around. We'll show you again. Watch Tony Stewart coming out.
Oh, that's scary right there.
Always a dangerous spot on that pit road. You have to pay attention, and drivers try to do their part in paying attention, but sometimes things are going to happen. But as you said, Doc, great that they wear these helmets now and they can laugh about it.
Here we go, guys. 15 to go. Hamlin, Martin, remember, double foul restart shootout style, and we should have one shootout here at Richmond. Finish is determining who gets in the postseason. Multi-million-dollar chase up for grabs. Hamlin trying to win the race. Martin, others trying to get in the chase.
Mark Martin spins the tires on the start there. Kurt Busch able to get by him. How hard is Kyle Busch going to drive this race car right now?
And he's got to drive his heart out right here.
And with that move right there, and Vickers going backwards on the inside, probably just enough to maybe get him inside there.
And he can go on guts for 11 laps.
Looking back from Mark Martin side by side, Gordon and Kyle Busch. Kyle was in a moment ago. Now Vickers has made a pass, and Vickers is back in. 13 laps to go.
Every time Kyle edges ahead of Jeff Gordon, that puts him back in.
And Kyle's got a good run this time off of 4. Gordon right there.
Brian Vickers right there trying to take a spot away from Sam Hornish. He knows what this means too.
You got the lead right here too. Kurt Busch putting a lot of pressure on Denny Hamlin.
I heard Kurt Busch talk before that last pit stop. He was getting down to time to go.
Kurt Busch has not led a lap. Critical pass there for Brian Vickers, left side of your screen, trying to get by Sam Hornish to get some points. Right now, it's a 4-point plus advantage for the 83 car of Vickers.
Coming down for 10 laps to go.
There's 4 more points that he's battling for right there with Sam Hornish. Tough spot. He wants to race hard, but knows he doesn't want to make a mistake.
Kyle Busch has lost that position, the 4th position, to Jeff Gordon. And he's in danger of losing another one as Clint Boyer moving in on the 18 car.
And Vickers going to have to play a little defense there because you have Kevin Harvick on his back bumper.
Gordon going by the 5 car to take the 3rd spot away.
Vickers doesn't want to get up there and get beside of the 77. Happen to get a little loose and lose that spot to Kevin Harvick and others that are right behind. That's Jimmy Johnson right behind Harvick.
One or two positions could determine whether you spent the last 10 months to get in a chase and it goes away or not.
Vickers' team needs to be telling him that he's in. He doesn't need to be taking unnecessary chances here in these last few laps when he doesn't need to. They need to be telling him that he is in the right position right now.
But he can't back up. He'll get passed right behind him. So he's in a tough spot right here.
He's got Harvick coming. They got Jimmy Johnson behind Harvick. Four-point differential for losing a position, and the tie goes to the driver who's won the most races. If they were to tie, it would go to Kyle Busch.
Yeah, right now Kyle Busch is working on Mark Martin. If he can pass Mark Martin, that'll move him up that spot he needs.
The tiebreaker is most wins on the season. Kyle has 4. Vickers has 1.
This is literally going to come down to the last lap of the race. I'm not sure that Kyle's going to be able to get to Mark Martin, but Brian Vickers is right there where just any slip could make a huge difference.
It'll be 5 laps to go this time by. We talked about the Hail Mary pass in football, the buzzer beater shot in basketball. It's a hold your breath moment tonight here in NASCAR. Guys trying to hold their breath and hold on for the final 4.5 laps to get in the postseason.
See Vickers still working on Sam Hornish. He'd really like to make this pass, get him a little bit of a cushion.
If he'd happened to slip and lose 3 spots, that could
knock him right out of the chase.
4 to go,
4 laps to go. Looks like he might clear Sam Hornish right there. He pulls up right in front of him. Wow, that's a big pass right there.
And that adds 4 more points. Now Vickers has an 8-point advantage with 3 laps to go this time by.
3 to go this time. 3. Staying smooth. 1 back.
Now, Kyle Busch is running a little slower than what Mark Martin is, so I don't think that he's going to be able to get to him. Brian Vickers probably just raced his way right into the chase.
Denny Hamlin trying to hold on and win for the first time on his home racetrack, but the battle back for the chase here. There is Hamlin. 4 car lengths in front of Kurt Busch. He'll come down to take the white flag.
Brian Vickers has about 2 car lengths on Sam Hornish, so looks like he's in pretty good shape with no slip.
Hamlin takes the white flag. He's 3/4 of a mile away from doing something he's wanted to do since he's a little boy. That's winning on the home racetrack. And there is Brian Vickers back in 7th position. He has an 8-point advantage. He's 1 lap away from being in the chase for the first time in his career. And out of turn 4, the checkered flag goes to Denny Hamlin. He wins it at Richmond. And Brian Vickers will come down and be in the chase for 2009.
Brian Newman with a good job getting in the top 10.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about, boys.
How about this team right here?
That's a victory celebration in itself right there.
Yes, it is. Wow. How about stepping up when the pressure's on, getting the job done, pit crew, Brian Vickers, what a fantastic job.
Responding to the pressure and the stress, Brian Vickers had 1 top 10 finish in his career.
Makes a smile on Denny Hamlin's face right now, winning at his home racetrack.
He could carry these 10 points into next week.
That's right.
And there's the 18 car. Kyle Busch did all he could. He will be credited with a 5th place finish. And unofficially, he would miss the chase by just 8 points.
Think back a lot to the previous 25 races and easily come up with 8 points.
Denny Hamlin
great.
had led over 600 laps here at the home track prior to the night, but had never won in a NASCAR Sprint Cup car. Kyle Busch, despite 4 victories, will miss the championship chase, and Brian Vickers will get to experience the chance to run for a championship.
That flag and the trophy he's about to receive, two best things Denny Hamlin's had in a long time.
Can you just imagine what's going through this team's mind right now? What a job by Ryan Pemberton. Well, our Gillette in the clutch moment tonight. Team working very hard on pit road to get it done, but they did not beat Kyle Busch off of pit road, so that meant their driver, Brian Vickers, had to get it done on the racetrack, and he was in the clutch and on the gas. Brian Vickers got it done. To find out how your favorite athletes prepare for success, go to ESPN.com, search Locker Room Report. The guy on the outside now looking in was Kyle Busch, and he's with Dave.
And Kyle, with that finish tonight, the margin is 8 points, and you guys didn't make the chase. Your thoughts?
That's not the 8 points that we sacrificed tonight. It's a conglomerate of points that we sacrificed all year. Just unfortunate for the whole M&M's organization. Victoria Mars, who is here tonight, hoping that we can make it into chase. Unfortunately, we weren't able to. We didn't have the best of years to be consistent, and unfortunately that bit us. But we can always look towards the rest of the year to try to win some races and go out with a bang and try to build on something for next year. I've been struggling a little bit this year with these cars for some reason. Last year I took to them real quick, but thank Interstate Batteries, Norm, Joe, JD, all the guys at Joe Gibbs Racing. It wasn't tonight. That was a good, strong top 5 finish. Let's talk about the top 5 finish. I mean, that was a hard battle all night. My arms are sore, my back is sore, but it was fun to be able to race all these guys. Vickers put up a whale of a fight there at the end, and just thank M&M's, stickers, combos, Interstate Batteries again. We missed.
Kyle, put us in the seat when your pit crew got you off pit road ahead of Brian.
I'll tell you what, the pit crew's earned a steak dinner a few times here these past couple of weeks. They've done a phenomenal job. They kept us in the game tonight too. We lost some spots on the racetrack, and we come down pit road. Every time we come down pit road, it's a spot or two. And when you've got a pit crew like that you can count on to gain you spots, it's the world. But unfortunate. Oh, congratulations to Denny too, by the way. He's still doing burnouts. He's packed up and wound up here about winning in his hometown. So congrats to the whole FedEx team.
You mentioned consistency. How do you resolve having 4 wins on the season and not being in the chase?
Go out and win some more. I mean, we just need to work on the consistency. We picked up at some racetracks that we needed to, and we faltered real bad at some racetracks we felt like we were really good at. So just wasn't our year. Just wasn't meant to be for some reason. The good Lord upstairs put me in this predicament for a reason, and one of these days I'll be able to figure that out and tell you what it is.
Kyle, you've got 10 races to pick up the W's on the rest of the season. Guys, it was a hard race tonight. Kyle finished out of the chase. Alan?
8 points, the gap for Kyle Busch, the smallest difference between the first spot in and last spot out in the history of this chase format. 15 was the previous difference before. The man who raced his way in tonight, Brian Vickers, is with Shannon.
Huge celebration down here with the 83 car. Not the best record coming into this racetrack. You did not get off pit road first. Was it the car or pure driver determination that got you into this chase tonight, Brian?
No, it was team determination. This is just one race, one of many, and the guys did a good job. That last stop wasn't our best, but we had a couple of really good pit stops prior to that. Really proud of the effort by the guys. I tell you what, we picked a good night to figure this place out. Ryan, all the guys, the engineering staff, everybody at Red Bull did a tremendous job with this car, the best car I've ever had. I really wish that last caution hadn't come out. We were starting to run down the 2, maybe it had an opportunity to top 3, but so proud of everybody at Red Bull and Toyota. I mean, this is not just one race. This has been a culmination of 26 races. Nobody giving up. 2.5 years into a program. I never would imagine us being this far along. 6 poles, a win, and now we're in the chase. And I don't know what to say. I'm so proud of everybody.
I know how hard you guys have worked this season, and you're back to work on Monday, but how are you going to spend your Sunday afternoon?
At the U.S. Open, actually. Hopefully watch some good tennis, and, I'll probably have quite a hangover when I get there, but I'm going to have a good time tonight and celebrate it Red Bull style and have a good time. But just so proud of these guys. I can't thank them enough for the hard work. Ryan, Dave, all the guys at Red Bull. We picked one heck of a night to have a great car here.
Congratulations, Brian. Brian will be seated 8th in the chase going into this last 10 races. Jamie?
And Matt Kenseth kicks off the year with the Daytona 500 win, wins again after that, and now you miss the chase by 30 points. Where did things turn for you for the worse?
third race of the year, Las Vegas. We finished last, and from there it's been downhill really. So you know, we just haven't ran good enough. We haven't ran good enough to really be in a chase anyway. And you know, Brian's got a lot of momentum, and I know Kyle didn't make it in, but some of them guys might, you know, would probably have a shot. And the way we're running and operating right now, even if we made it, we wouldn't have a shot at the championship. So you know, I'd be lying if I didn't say I was really disappointed we didn't make it, and I wish we would have had a better year. You know, but we'll just keep working on it and see what we can do to improve. I think there's some improvements need to be made organizational wise to make our cars run better. And I know I can do a better job driving, and I know we can do a better job on pit road and as our team too. So we're going to work on as hard as we can these last 10 weeks and hopefully at least get back into competitive form to get ready for next year.
For the first time ever, Matt Kenseth does not make the chase. Alan?
Jamie, thanks. Missed it by 38 points with a 25th place finish tonight here in Richmond. And for Denny Hamlin, it's the Degree V12 victory lane. He is going to celebrate big by winning in his hometown. Vince Welch is ready to talk to a pretty happy guy.
What a way to close out the regular season with a victory here after having dominated at your home track so many times. How does it feel to finally get the victory here?
Yeah, I just can't say enough. It's you know, first of all, I'd like to thank the fans. You know, everyone who's wearing that number 11 hat or shirt. You know, these are the times that I get so excited, and I made sure I did everything I did at Pocono. I've only wore this hat 2 times. The other was at Pocono. I made sure I had my gold heat shields on. Everything from Pocono. I had my grandma's St. Jude keychain in there. I just was making sure I covered all bases when we decided to drive today.
Winning here in the final race before the chase, what kind of a springboard is that now into early chase success?
Well, I tell you, it's going to be a big boost for us, but just to cover the sponsor stuff first, you know, FedEx, I can't say enough for all of them and their employees. Got to thank Sprint, Toyota, JGR, Coca-Cola, Wiley X, and most of all the fans. But I tell you, they better watch us. I'm telling you, this team is dangerous.
Denny Hamlin wins at his home track in Richmond. Alan?
And with that victory for Denny Hamlin tonight, it places him as the 4th seed in the chase for the Sprint Cup. The drivers that make it, the top 12, reseeded based on number of wins, certain procedures for breaking the ties. And that means Mark Martin, 10th in points starting the night, scraping his way to get into the chase. His 4 wins this year makes him the number 1 seed in the chase for the championship. We'll talk to Mark after this message and a word from our ABC stations. The Chevy Rock and Roll 400 at Richmond is over. The field for the chase for the Sprint Cup is set. Denny Hamlin celebrating a win tonight. He'll be the 4th seed for the run to the championship over the next 10 weeks. The man who is now the top seed, the leader of the championship going to New Hampshire next week, is with Dave Burns.
And after the run he had here tonight, which was fantastic for Mark Martin, hey, you're alone at the top with 4 wins. You are the number 1 seed, Mark.
How about that, man? I just got to thank Alan Gustafson and all our supporters, the fans, and our supporters, CarQuest, Kellogg's, and Chevrolet, and GoDaddy, and Stanley, and all the guys that support us at Hendrick Motorsports, and great teammates, and the best team, best year of my career.
As well as you were running near the end of the race, when did you start to believe?
Checker flag. I've had a lot of things go wrong in my career. I just, you know, it was really good to be in the top 5 all night. I don't think we ever got further back than 5th. And great pit stops, and just everything was good. We had the best pit stall, a great race car, not quite good enough to win with, but we could see the leaders all night, and the guys just did what we needed to do. We needed to finish how we ran, and the last 2 weeks we've done that. And so now we go racing. Pressure's off, though. Pressure's off. It won't build back up until late, maybe 4 to go or something. Right now, pressure's off.
Seems like the momentum, though, is on at just the right time.
Well, you know, anybody that's in the chase can win this thing. All they have to do is get on a 10-race roll. I'm telling you, anybody in this chase can win. Watch out for one Montoya. I'm telling you, the guy's running good, and he's been points racing, and they may go after it now. And I know that you know, the last few weeks we've raced to win, but we've, you know, been real careful. 2, and now we can go do our thing.
And Mark Martin's got teammates in this thing too. Jeff Gordon, why don't you step on in here? 6th seed for you tonight. And at the very end, another strong run toward the front there. You guys are pretty good tonight.
Yeah, we were fighting hard for those 10 bonus points because we knew once we were seated that, we were going to be behind. But what a strong effort by this DuPont National Guard Chevrolet. Really proud to have Wounded Warriors on board. And it was a great effort. Steve and the guys just brought a great race car tonight, and the best one I've had here in a long time. So I'm really excited. The momentum going into New Hampshire is there. The team was solid. I think we got a great shot at it. We know we got some points to make up, but I think this team's really capable and ready to do that.
And Mark mentioned the fact that anyone can get up to the front there pretty quickly. Do you look at this as pretty much an even playing field?
I do. I don't like giving up any points to anybody, especially guys as tough as Mark Martin and Jimmy Johnson and Tony Stewart. You just don't want to allow anybody to have any kind of an edge. But you know what? We haven't always been the strongest seed going into the chase, but we've taken the points lead before because of our strong team and consistency. And, we know we're going to have to get out there and do battle and win some races. And, if we can do it, I hope we do it in these final 10.
Strong representation for Hendrick Motorsports in the chase. Mark Martin mentioned Juan Pablo Montoya. Vince, how about it?
He did indeed, and tell you what, when you're talking about favorites in the chase, you can't overlook this guy. This team has been as good as any other during the course of the summer, and crew chief Brian Patty told me earlier today, felt like you could have won 5 of the last 6 races. You came in here, did what you had to do tonight. How good does it feel to accomplish the goal you set of making the chase?
In a way, I want to thank first everybody, at Target and Chevrolet and EGR Motors and everybody in Hurricane. They did an amazing job for me all year long. Everybody back in the shop built great cars, and when you get good race cars, it makes your life a lot easier. And Brian and all the boys all year long did an amazing job. Today it feels kind of weird. Yeah, we made the chase, but we run so conservative today that it's like kind of awkward. But it's good, we're in.
Will you feel good to be able to now get in the chase and kind of let it all hang out finally?
I think we have to wait and see what happens, how good we are, and based how we run, we're going to have good weeks and bad weeks. We need to make sure when they're bad, you can't go worse than 10 or 12.
At the beginning of the season, not many gave your team a shot at making the chase. How good does it feel to be one of the final 12 that'll have a chance at the championship?
I think just proving everybody wrong feels really good, to tell you the truth, but it's great. It's great to, it was a 3-year plan to come here and start performing after 3 years, and we made the chase, and this is bigger than winning a race or anything, so it's pretty cool.
The 42 team will celebrate making the chase tonight, and well deserved.